Somebody stop me.
Have some fun with your marriage.
I'm coming to you to be fat. Let me be fat.
Look it.
There's so many sickos in this country.
This is facts.
Oink, oink. Ow!
Hot and hurt.
I like pleasuring myself.
This is so dumb.
A little more juice.
What?
I am broken.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The rest of my life gon' start today.
CBS Sports Radio.
Well, as I was saying, when I was listening to the radio, I heard something.
And what did you hear?
A hissing sound like this.
Hey, T.A. Hey, D.A. Let me aboard that mothership.
Permission to board that mothership, sir.
Well, you know I had to slide through the intergalactic swag party. D.A. man, beam me up. What's going on, my brother from another mother? Beam me up. You guys are the best. You guys make it
Permission to board that mothership.
Mothership has connected.
And you the man, D.A.
Happy Thursday to you, North America. The mothership has connected. Welcome aboard. It's the 4-hour Solar Flare Fiesta. DA with you from the CBS Sports Radio studios in New York City. Broadcasting to affiliates nationwide and north of the border. Anchorage to Atlanta, Green Bay to Greensboro, Kalamazoo, and Waterloo. We are on the air.
They listening, D.A. Everything we saying, D.A. Everything.
Well, thanks for being with us, everybody. We appreciate you dropping on by. Today is a massive show, even by the standards of this show. Most importantly, the date of the Bob's Bar show will be revealed today. Much like Selection Sunday, we are toasting on this Thirsty Thursday to Bob's Bar 2023. We're kicking off the summer in style. We're paying off the NIT bracket bet. Hopefully, we've got Badlands Booker to slap us with kielbasa. Make it Bassa, baby. If you want to travel into town for this or just circle it on your calendar to take off of work so you can listen to all 4 hours live, you'll want to know the date. We'll unveil it today with a musical guest.
Hey, welcome. I'm Bob. Come on in. This is my boss.
Right now, Dan in Mechanicsburg has fired up his Thunderbird, and he's waiting to know what exactly the date is so he can start driving the 3+ hours to then camp out for tickets outside Bob and Nancy's house. So we'll do that next hour on the show, and it should be noted that the musical guest is already in studio. He's been waiting for all of us as we entered the building. It was amazing to see a solo artist of the highest caliber basically unlock the doors for us this morning. He's a huge DA show listener. He's a P1. That means he's a primary D-alien, and he's chomping at the bit to perform on this day. Now, in 20 minutes, we've got sound check. I'm looking at this rundown, and I'm almost scared to know what this stuff means. I see cut 3, sound check, 3:16:23. Jack leaves JR speechless. So that's coming up. In 40 minutes, is Ja ready to move forward? One guy that's ready to move forward is Aaron Rodgers. Another team that's ready to do that is the Green Bay Packers. Yesterday, Rodgers predictably announcing on the Pat McAfee show that he does intend to play for the Jets moving forward. So that is a sigh of relief for Jets fans that all of this was not for nothing. However, they still need to work out trade compensation. So are the Packers being unreasonable? Rodgers seemed to imply that yesterday. It is where we begin your cold open.
At this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Okay.
And I haven't been holding anything up at this point. It's been compensation that the Packers are trying to get for me and kind of digging their heels in. The reality of the situation, like it is what it is. The Packers would like to move on. They've let me know that in so many words. They've let other people know that in direct words. And because I still have that fire and I want to play and I would like to play in New York, it's just a matter of, getting that done at this point.
I don't believe it!
The most amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending.
It's DA's top story.
Here he goes.
It's your cold open.
All right, that obviously yesterday, Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. Number one, if you're a Jets fan and you're super excited today, I'm not going to sit here and pour cold water all over it. Cold water! Because obviously you've been searching through the wilderness for many decades for a franchise quarterback. And since the departure of Joe Namath, you have not had a QB of this caliber. Even when Brett Favre came to New York, that was a much diminished Brett Favre. I think where Rodgers is today, even though last season wasn't great, I still think it's a better version of Brett Favre, although I will say that Favre going to the Vikings did have a real impressive season after he left the Jets. But either way, you've been searching for a quarterback for a really long time. Jets fans have had their hearts crushed for how many decades? So that's a day that should be celebratory, should be happy, should be we finally got our guy. But as you know, I have massive reservations about bringing in Aaron Rodgers for a couple of reasons. I've laid those out in detail over the last few weeks. But let's look at what Rodgers framed this as. First of all, he said, it's not an announcement. The decision's already been made. This is not an announcement. Well, it's the first time publicly that you actually said you wanted to go to the Jets. And of course it happened on the McAfee show. So what Rodgers has obviously done is use that platform as his broadcasting network. He told Schefter to lose his number. He told the reporters basically, screw you. He doesn't like Rappaport, Rossini, or Schefter, which is fine. That's his prerogative. Not every player has to play by those rules. But, it's classic Rodgers to manipulate the truth into, this is not an announcement. Well, it is because you haven't tweeted about this. Your agent hasn't said anything. The report has not been out there that you've agreed to become a member of the Jets. So it is an announcement. Okay, you can't really hide from that. Okay, next part of this is Rodgers framing this as the Packers are doing him wrong is pretty amazing, considering he has held the Packers hostage for how many off seasons now. I mean, it's pretty rich, again, to manipulate the truth in the framing, to be like, I'm the greatest player in Packers history, which I wouldn't deny. I mean, they've had incredible Hall of Famers for generations, but you could argue that the best player at his position ever that wore a Green Bay Packers uniform was Aaron Rodgers. There's been, again, some amazing players. Reggie White in his prime, Brett Favre in his prime, Ray Nitschke in his prime, all the Hall of Famers on the Lombardi Packers. There's been a lot of Hall of Fame caliber players at their peak in Green Bay, but you want to make the argument he is the best? That's totally fine by me. But let's not act like the Packers have to do Rodgers a favor here, because they don't. They don't need to do any favors for Rodgers. He didn't do any favors for them. I mean, it wasn't like when they drafted Jordan Love, he quietly slunk into the back of the room and said, I just want to make sure I make everybody's lives easier on them, so how can I help here? I mean, he's been at odds with LaFleur, Coonsey, the front office, etc. And even yesterday laid out that none of the guys he really likes are left anymore in the front office. He went through the entire front office that he used to really like when he got drafted. Ted Thompson, on and on and on it went. Bob Harlan, he listed like 5 guys that aren't there anymore. And then definitely pointed out that all of the guys that he likes are gone. So I don't know why he would expect then the front office to turn around and do him a solid. in terms of the Packers' desires here, they want a Matthew Stafford deal of 2-1s. Well, they ain't getting 2-1s because there's only one team that they're negotiating with. This is not a bidding war for Rodgers' services. So I don't think that they can squeeze the Jets for 2-1s. Also, the massive nature of the contract suggests that you have to give up less if you're going to absorb that deal, allowing the Packers to have the financial freedom. That's a huge part of this, that the Packers get financial freedom, so they also can't get a high price tag in draft picks as well. That is part of the cost of doing the business here. Can you get a 1? I doubt it. Can you get 2 1s? Definitely not. Might you get a second rounder, 2 2s? That would probably be a good price in my mind for Aaron Rodgers from the Packers. The problem is that the Jets don't have anywhere else to pivot, so they really can't play hardball either. They can't walk away from this deal. They've signed Allen Lazard. They have no other quarterback option unless you want to go back to the Zach Wilson well, which you don't. And they got to get a deal done. So I think the issue here is that it will get done. The Packers want it done for financial flexibility and for clarity. The Jets want it done because they got no other quarterback option. So it'll get done. But this might not get done until the draft. I doubt it takes more than a month. I doubt it. But the Packers don't have to do anything because this is not a free agency situation. The Packers know they have a buyer on Rodgers. And this is not, well, the league year has started or it's a free agent deal. It's not. It's a trade. It's a guy under contract. So the Packers could even blow through the stop sign of the draft and wait until September 1 to trade him if they wanted to. My guess is it gets done before the draft, maybe the next couple of weeks, maybe the next couple of days. But the deal is the Packers can afford to hold out because it's not like Rodgers is showing up to OTAs to make Jordan Love's life a living hell. We know the end result here, so the Packers don't really have to do anything. Plenty more on this as we make our way through the morning because there was, again, just fistfuls of hypocrisy from Rodgers in the middle of all of this. And look, I don't begrudge or resent that Rodgers goes on McAfee's show to do these types of things. That's a safe zone for him. I certainly don't begrudge McAfee for having him on. That's a massive day for them. They had mentioned multiple times that nearly 500,000 people were watching that show on YouTube for the announcement. So that's good business by the McAfee guys, and by playing nice with Rodgers, look, that's a huge windfall for them. Huge. I don't blame the business aspect of this. I don't blame Rodgers for utilizing a safe space to do this, and a guy that he considers, a friend. Obviously, A.J. Hawk is a former teammate that's also there. So that part of it, I've got no problem with. If he wants to do it in his way without the traditional newsbreakers of the sports media, that's fine. But it's just that Rodgers frames everything through his own truth, conveniently forgetting all the other ways it can be interpreted. And when he says, I go into the cave 90% retired, I come out of the cave and now I want to play, that's clearly a bit of a red flag. It's at least a bit of a hesitation of, well, what changed things? Well, what changed things was he got upset that they were going to shop him, that the Packers were trying to push him out. So suddenly he's on the revenge tour. However, the hypocrisy is he went into the cave to find internal motivation and purpose. He came out of the cave and used external motivation and purpose. So what gives? Last night, if you're just waking up in the WBC, a crushing blow for Pete the Body Bilotti and Mets fans everywhere. In the Puerto Rico-Dominican Republic game, Puerto Rico defeats the Dominican Republic, the DR, the favorites in this tournament. Edwin Diaz, closer of the Mets, best closer in baseball, strikes out the side on 21 pitches to close out a 5-2 win and eliminate the DR. They come together around the pitching mound. They jump up and down. In the celebration, Edwin Diaz injures his knee, falls down to the ground. Everybody circles around him. Teammates have tears in their eyes. He has to limp off under assistance and gets into a wheelchair as he leaves the field. Now, this is a real celebratory vibe that's going on in the building. You've got fans from both the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico waving flags, the sound makers, all that type of stuff that comes to the WBC. And here is a pall over the entire thing. We don't have anything yet on the severity of it. You go down with a knee injury, you leave with a wheelchair. It can't be good. We wait for the MRI. But this is exactly the worst fear realized by GMs, owners, managers, and Rob Manfred. That players who are crucial to the well-being of the league go to an exhibition tournament before the season begins and get injured. And if Edwin Diaz is out for the season, or Diaz is out for 6 to 8 months, how many Major League Baseball players would sign up again to play? This didn't even happen by blowing out your ACL playing or blow out your elbow pitching. This is celebrating. This is worst case scenario for the WBC, and you might just end up seeing just the electricians from the Czech Republic play from here on out. Because what owner and what GM is not going to put in every stipulation for every contract moving forward, and you can't play in the WBC? There's already the stipulation that if you get injured in the WBC, we're not paying your salary. But who would ever allow them on a field to do these types of things? I mean, celebrating of all things. So we may have just watched the death of the WBC that you care about, and instead get the WBC where nobody you've ever heard of competes. Terrible. And I'm not even going to ask Pete right now how he feels, because I don't want to go down that road. Pete is understandably traumatized this morning, and I feel for you, Pete. Obviously, I'm a Mets fan as well. This is really bad news. We wanted to eat Peeps today. I don't even know if we can allow you to eat Peeps today.
What sense does it make to play an exhibition tournament during spring training when players aren't ready yet, and we're pulling them out of camps to play this tournament? What is the sense of that? I've said this from day one of the stupid tournament. I don't need to see the U.S. play Antigua. I don't need to see that. Do not need to see that at all.
No.
If you want to do it at Christmas time in Florida. Now, the Mets have lost their closer who they paid $100 million for. And the Mets paid Edwin Diaz to close for them and play for them $100 million.
And it's a 162-game season plus playoffs. Do we need to tack on another 10 during training camp, during spring training to do this type of stuff?
And you could put all these rules in place. The fact is, spring training is a time for players to get ready. It's not a time for players to be competitive in like June or July type games. It's just not constructed like that.
In fact, Diaz said going into this game, this felt like Game 7 of the World Series because of the country rivalries. This was for the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. This is a massive, massive rivalry, and for cultural reasons, exactly right. We're going to put the intensity of a Game 7 of the World Series in mid-March.
Do it in the wintertime. And you know what? If I'm Steve Cohen, no Met is ever playing in WBC again.
I could see that.
I'm not trying. It's not a hot take as people would make. It's a fact. You invest all this money into a team and into players. I'm pulling all my players out of the WBC. It makes no sense.
Does Pete Alonso play again for the team, for Team USA moving forward?
You have Alonso, Lindor, McNeil, three of their best players, and Diaz. There's no logic to it. There's zero logic to it.
Will
It's
they
for
pull
any
them all
player.
out? Well, I wonder if they'll pull them all out.
I think they will. I think they will. I would.
What are you rolling your eyes at, Moraz?
They're not pulling them off these teams. They're finishing this tournament. They're playing for the pride of their countries. This sucks. It's a freak accident. He didn't get hurt playing. He got hurt celebrating. It is awful. It's horrendous. I would feel horrible if I'm a Met fan today. They're not forcing Pete Alonso and Jeff McNeil and whoever else to come off of their teams in the WBC. Come on, can we be real here for a second? You're committed to a team. They have just committed to playing for their country. You just made it to the quarterfinals. Now you're not going to finish the next week and a half because of a freak injury? Come on, guys. That's not going to happen.
If Diaz,
and Steve Cohen, by the way, would lose all respect of his players if he did that.
If Diaz is gone for the season, you don't think they would tell all of the rest of the stars, Lindor and Alonso, hey, guys, we're not doing the rest of this tournament.
No, I think you say, don't be stupid. Don't be jumping around. Don't be anything. Play for the, love your team. But, guys, realize we have a season here.
But as you said, it's a freak accident. So,
right. So if what, the freak accident could happen on opening day then, too.
I'd rather it happen in a Met uniform, not in another uniform. You're paid to be on the Mets. You're paid to be in Major League Baseball.
I agree with all that. And believe me, I am more than relieved that Aaron Judge is not in the WBC. So I totally get that point of view. But you're not going to pull the guys off the field now. It's not, by the way, it ain't game one. They're on the verge of semifinal. This thing wraps up in the next couple days, as we've said.
I don't care.
I know you don't care. I'm just telling you, they're going to finish it out.
Pull them all out. Pull them all out.
Get them off the field.
Look, look. Diaz said it himself. It's like Game 7 of the World Series. Let these guys play for the pride of the country, all right? It's a freak injury. You'll be all right. Come back next year, you have a shot. That's it. It sucks. It's a freak injury. What can you do? It happens in sports.
Come back next year, you'll have a shot.
Yeah. So, the Mets window's wide open. It's all right. So what? You punt on a year. You'll be back next year, no problem.
That's Mraz the troll right there.
Not a troll. It sucks.
You're trolling.
The Cohen has all this money. He's going to trade for somebody. You can't pull him off the field in the WBC.
You can. You can easily do that. That's the first call I'm making, to be honest with you.
Honestly, how much of this is on Aaron Rodgers? The announces he's coming to the Jets. Next thing you know, everybody starts dropping in New York.
It's a disaster. It's always a disaster. Okay, as we move on, we've got sound check coming up here next. More on Rodgers. Also, we've got Tom Doyle Easter eggs and a speechless JR. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Something that comes in a book, okay? It looks like it's an old novel with a lock on the side, and it's called The End. And you open up the latch, and there's table of contents. Foreboding, tasting the end, searing pain, regret, panic, willing to lick floor to make pain stop, survive, vow to never do that again. The End. And so this is quite the display, and I've got the hot sauce. This has to be the punishment. The End. So I think we got to go with The End.
It ain't a pig heart, but it's the end.
On Dipsy Doodles. On Dipsy Doodles.
This is scary now.
Okay, we all in on this?
I'm definitely in.
Sure.
I'm up big already.
Verbal signature, Mraz.
Yes, no notary needed.
Verbal signature, Pete.
Sure.
You've got the spicy blood.
Yeah, I don't like spicy a lot. Like, I'm not the guy that's going to go for the buffalo pizza over maybe a regular slice, but I can take it. I can handle it. I can have hot sauce at any time.
Okay, are you scared at all about this?
No.
Nervous?
It's a hot sauce in a box. All right? I'll take my punishment like a man and eat the Dipsy Doodle with the hot sauce on it. That's it. No games, none of that.
Verbal signature, Pete?
Sure. I am not nervous about that box.
Okay. There is no way Pete the Body can catch any of us. Right now, Mraz is in first place with 34 points. I'm in second with 28 points. Bogues is in third at 21 points. And Pete the Body, named Peter the Body, here on this bracket challenge.
That is correct.
little respect on that name, please. Peter the Body has only 15 points and can add no more points to his total. All of his final 4 is out. So Peter the Body will be eating said hot sauce. All right, we still have to figure out what date is best. But
what are we trying to figure out? Just pick a day. I mean, come on.
Well, we had picked a day that you wanted to do it in May.
Just let's do it. Come on.
We did ask yesterday, have you ever lost a bet?
No, I have not.
This is history.
Yep, the NIT bracket. What a way to lose a bet.
And this is losing way more than 50 cents.
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS presents this program in color.
An educated person can't think he's going to get a recruit by strippers coming in.
They can fire you, but they can't eat you.
And they run through our ass like through a tin horn, man, and we could not stop them.
The audio you need to hear. It's DA's Soundcheck.
Watch us on YouTube every single day. We send out the link. You can click on the YouTube app on your phone, or you could also watch us on your desktop or laptop. Go to the CBS Sports Radio channel on YouTube, also on Twitch and at watchda.com. Soundcheck begins with Aaron Rodgers, who was on the Pat McAfee show yesterday. Adam Schefter trying to get that breaking scoop.
I have no problem with Ian Rappaport, Schefter. I think they're really good at their jobs. When it comes to me, they don't know shit. They really don't. They don't have inner source. They don't have people in my inner circle who are sources. I can promise you that. And anybody who would talk to them is not in my inner circle.
Ho! Hey-o! Take that, Schefter. Also, Schefter screenshotted a text that Roger sent him when he was trying to get some information that said, "Nice try, lose my number." Journalistically, is it cool to publish text message screenshots?
Usually no, but when Rodgers wants to take a run at you like that, you might as well own the moment and have fun with it.
Okay. I don't know. Still, that feels like it's breaking a certain line. I mean, somebody texted you something privately and then you posted a screenshot of it.
Well, and also, let's be honest about something with Schefter. He already tweeted the JPP X-rays years ago. Like, that kind of went out the window when you did that with Schefter.
Okay.
I loved it. I thought it was the best part of yesterday. I'm so glad he did it.
Who did what?
Schefter.
Why?
Rodgers put it out there And he goes, yeah, here's the proof. No problem. There's no secret anymore. It's already been put out there by Rodgers. Why can't he post it?
It is a personal text.
It's one line of exactly what Rodgers said.
Well, what's the line of that line? I mean, can he post another screenshot of text messages that is 2 lines, is 3 lines, that Rodgers says one part of it but not the other part of it?
The line is he didn't put it out on his own. He put it out after Rodgers said he sent the text. He goes, yeah, here's the text. I don't think that's a problem at all.
And didn't release the number, didn't do anything.
Right.
He just sent out the exact words Rodgers already said. So it's almost like confirming a report.
Yeah. I still think it walks a really delicate journalistic line where you're screenshotting personal text messages. Certainly, he didn't ask Rodgers, can I publish this? He just did it. And this is what I don't like about it. Rodgers as a player can be pissy about reporters. Fine. He could take runs at reporters. The reporters are supposed to be objective. They're supposed to be above the fray. And if they get into a public you-know-what match, they both get dirty. And so I think Schefter should just be like, yeah, okay. Maybe saying, yes, I haven't been able to get to Rodgers, but that felt to me to be creating yourself as part of the story already. And I think if you're really good at what you do in terms of breaking news, that stuff is beneath you. I think you're supposed to just detach yourself from it. I think at times Schefter tries to be the story. At times I think Schefter enjoys being the show. And this is coming from somebody who obviously likes being a ham. I mean, I'm not saying that this is not something, I do all of the time. But, Schefter's trying to break news, and then he's taking off his shirt and doing the gritty on a Monday night pregame. And now he's screenshotting text messages and be like, yeah, see, this is what Rodgers said to me. I think it's a bad look. Here's Tom Doyle, who was doing the overnight last night here locally on WFAN in New York. Sounds like we had some Easter eggs drop.
Really quickly, I got Marquette winning it all. I got Miami. I got Jimmy Larinaga's boys, Miami, as a surprise pick going to the Final Four. I am fading the crap out of Baylor. 3 seed. I think they get beat in the first round by UCSB, the 14 seed. And let's go Princeton. Let's go FDU. Let's go UConn. And let's go Iona, although UConn's playing Iona. So there's that. The madness begins. Everybody have fun with your brackets. Have fun with your rest of your spring training.
Okay. Have fun with your brackets.
Everybody have fun with your brackets.
Have fun with your brackets.
Have fun with your rest of your spring training.
Fun with your brackets. Have fun with your rest of your spring training.
What does that mean?
Have fun with the rest of your spring training. Yeah, I will. Yeah, I like spring training. These next 2 weeks should be really fun. And finally, all I'm going to read here is the line, Jack Stern leaves JR speechless to start last night's JR Sport Brief show.
Before we talk about Mr. Aaron Rodgers, Jack Stern is joining us tonight. Jack, how are you feeling, man? You having a good evening?
Oh, this is one of the best evenings of my life, JR. Aaron Rodgers is a Jet. I actually started a Let's Go Jets chant. Let's go Jets. On the subway tonight. I had a great day. I was extremely productive. I found out my favorite porn star is getting married, which kind of put a damper in the goodness that was going on. But aside from that, I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Jack. This is more information than I would have cared to have learned, but thank you very much. At least you're happy. That's all that matters.
Oh no. How can you say that? Oh no. Oh no.
JR seems like a really nice guy. He is. He's a good radio host.
Yeah.
He does amazing work outside the station, the Special Olympics. He talks to kids, college kids, about being in journalism. And yet the universe has delivered him Shep. And then when Shep's not in, he gets Jack Stern.
Yeah, but when Shep is in, it creates one of the best tandems in sports radio.
But it also seems to be taking its toll on JR as well.
Damon, I have a lot of private time. I don't know what to do anymore. I can't look at her the same way. She's married to another man. Can you believe that?
Do we know who said adult film star is?
I was going to Google it, and then I realized I was on the work computers, and I could get fired for checking out that.
It's the only thing JR didn't do well is he didn't ask who the person was.
Also, can Jack get the Jet chant right? It's not. When have they ever done a Let's Go Jets? I did a Let's Go Jets on the train from Penn down here to Houston Street, but nobody told me it's Jets, 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 Jets.
I'll pay for the reaction of everybody on that subway.
He did the wrong Jets chant. He did the wrong Jets
with people that wanted to kill him probably in the subway.
I think he thought they were the Winnipeg Jets.
The Jets have one of the most identifiable cheers in sports. And he didn't get it right.
Fireman Fred once said, "Let's go Jets."
Let's go Jets.
Go Jets, go Jets, go, go, go. It's not their cheer.
Let's go Jets.
The terrible clap. I was chanting "Let's go Jets," and then I saw that nuptials are made with my favorite porn star.
I had a great day. I was extremely productive. I found out my favorite porn star is getting married, which kind of put a damper in the goodness that was going on. But
how could you lead with that? How could you lead with that?
And this is where shame on JR. You go to Jack before the Rogers take to start the show. You can't do it. Also, what does Jack mean that he was being very productive, then found out the porn star got married? What did his day look like before work? And how did he find out while being productive? And what did productive mean?
All right, I've turned the Wi-Fi off on my phone. I'll Google.
Yeah.
Use
Turn
some of
off
that
the firewall.
5G to find out what porn star got married.
I mean,
dude,
imagine trying to then refocus on your take after Jack gives you that. Again, all JR's looking for there is, I'm doing great, excited about working together tonight, looking forward to the show. Instead, he gets like 5 different things.
Some shrimp cocktail.
Dropped on his head.
At that point, Jack should just finish that by starting a horse racing interview. I mean, you might as well just go on the full Monty there.
And the added radio nerd bonus of this is the visual of the audio wave in our system. That's Jack talking, and then it flatlines into JR's silence, and then the wave picks back up again is an amazing
I
sight.
thought there was something wrong with the file.
Can you give us just the pause? Give us the last thing that Jack says to JR, then let's hear how much silence after JR wants to respond.
Kind of put a damper in the goodness that was going on. But aside from that, I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Thank you, Jack. More information that I would have cared to have learned, but thank you very much. At least you're happy. That's all that matters.
That's almost 6 seconds full of silence in trying to think, how do I respond to that?
Forget how do I respond. How am I getting through these 4 hours with this guy?
Now,
thank you, Jack.
I think that Jack knows what he's doing. I mean, he's got to know that that's going to create conversation and people are going to go crazy on Twitter, right? This is definitely an attention-grabbing thing that you purposefully do.
So Jack has an amazing young Shep in him, ironically, in that you don't know who the joke's on. Is the joke on us? Is the joke on him and he doesn't get it? And you really leave it's like an open-ended movie. You don't know how to interpret it.
Could I also ask perhaps a non-politically correct question? Is Jack onto something where if you knew the porn star was married, it does take enjoyment away?
No.
I guess Jack's just such an honest man, you know? But I would argue the husband knew what he was getting into, right?
Well, I guess just if she's supposed to be the object of fantasy and then you think about her getting married and that her husband, she has to come home to her husband and be like, oh, how was your day at work? Well, my day at work was great. We did these 5 scenes.
I guess, but I mean...
On these 5 things.
I don't know. Can't you kind of search those scenes anyway?
I guess it's just the hard reality that we all come home to our wives or our husbands and, it's like we don't have to worry about our loved one doing those things with those people on camera all day for work.
But why would it bother Jack? Did Jack think he had a shot? Did he think he was going to walk out of here after an update saying 4 different things wrong, and then suddenly he was going to meet this porn star and fall in love?
Well,
Let's go, Jets.
I guess it rips away, again, the cover of fantasy, that there's a real life, that person that I'm watching is actually married, has to pay a mortgage, has insurance, you know.
Now that she has a husband, I can't hide her in my attic next to Carlos with a K.
I can't cook any candy or chicken.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
That classic Jets chant.
Could you imagine him in section 314 in September doing that chant? What is wrong with this guy?
Here's Fireman Ed. J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Wait, is Jack Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
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 Thank you, Jack.
J-E-T-S. Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman Ed just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up.
Let's go, Jets.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
It's so succulent
Gary
and
Wilson
delicious.
gonna catch the passes. Stop me up.
Kai Horton.
He never made a wish list.
Food is family.
Oh, that's my cardio for the week.
Let's go, Jets.
And thank you for that. This is going to be a boring show. We needed you dancing as Mick Jagger and Jack. We didn't have enough ridiculousness today.
Cross that off the DA bingo for today.
Mick Jagger. Which ironically fits with what he was talking about.
That'll be my Halloween costume this year. Mark that down.
Why is everybody dressed as Mick Jagger?
And you rescued Pete. That's good.
Mick Jagger.
Let's go, Jets.
That would, by the way, would have been the topper if DA tore his ACL while doing the Let's Go chant. We didn't get to the Bob's Bar announcement. This is meaningless times.
You guys all circle around me.
We could have our musical guests play taps instead of anything else.
The Rolling Stones. Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets. It's not even their chant.
Let's go, Jets.
You want to know I know what is chanting with you? Because that's never been their cheer.
I guarantee there was a bottle thrown in him at some point by somebody that train.
Oh, my God. Even Pizza Rat's like, what the hell are you talking about?
That's right. Pizza Rats are giving him the pizza.
Bogues has headlines.
And more than ever, they are proudly sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today.
Let's go, Jets.
All right, just a reminder, Pete, earmuffs. The World Baseball Classic sucks. All-World Mets closer Edwin Diaz seemed to suffer a major right knee injury, celebrating Puerto Rico's 5-2 win over the Dominican Republic to reach the quarterfinals. Here's his teammate, Kike Hernandez.
It's really easy to set aside the game and worry about us as humans. So it definitely doesn't feel in there like we just beat the Dominican Republic to advance.
Diaz got hurt while he and his teammates hopped together near the pitcher's mound. So by Pete's logic, his knee wasn't ready for jumping. His brother, who's also on the team, was in tears after this happened. Edwin eventually left the field in a wheelchair. The Mets say he'll undergo further imaging today. Team USA held off Colombia 3-2 in Phoenix late last night, advancing to the quarters where they will face Venezuela. Right now, there's a quarterfinal in Tokyo. Italy and Japan are scoreless bottom two. Shohei Ohtani is on the mound for Japan. Night 2 of the first 4 was a dud. Fairleigh Dickinson smoked Texas Southern 84-61. Then Arizona State ran over Nevada.
Long rebound, DJ Horn. Horn on the run, right to left. Euro step around Pettigrew. He lays it in. DJ Horn with 18 points to lead all scorers. It's 87-64 Sun Devils.
That's Ted Emmerich on the Westwood One NCAA Radio Network. The game already out of doubt at that point. DJ Horn finished with 20 and an 84-61 win again over in Nevada. And the NBA has suspended Ja Morant 8 games for playing with a gun in a Denver nightclub 2 Saturdays ago. The ban takes into account the games that he's already missed, so Ja's eligible to come back on Monday, but he will not. Morant is done with whatever counseling program he was in Florida. DA, back to you.
Thank you, Bogues. When we come back, as you just mentioned about Ja Morant, we'll discuss what is next. Is he ready to move forward? DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Our producer, Sean, who you met before, he once put a hex on Aaron Rodgers. He said Rodgers will never win another playoff game because Aaron Rodgers told him once upon a time, "Get away from me, buddy," because Mraz showed him a picture of himself.
Stop it.
Yes.
He told
me to get away from him. You're going to find out why right now.
Okay.
I'm a big Giant fan. The Packers beat the Giants in the playoffs a couple of years ago.
Right.
As part of losing a bet on the show, I had to go to Central Park in a Speedo covered in birdseed and have birds peck on.
Stopping me.
So a couple beers with Aaron Rodgers. I figure I'm going to show him the picture. He wanted no part of the picture, was so annoyed that I showed him the picture. It said, "Get away from me, buddy." Now, to pay off another bet.
Oh, my God. He was not nice to you.
He's not nice to you. So I had to find now another Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Right, that's me.
And hope this gets better.
Oh, wow, that is such a great. Is that you?
That's me
Well,
in a Speedo, birdseed,
that's
Central Park. Terry. What do you think?
That's a great picture. Really. And I love birds. I love birds. I used to race pigeons. Did you know that?
I did not.
Yes.
I did not.
When you see Home Alone in Central Park, most of those birds were my birds. You know, they're homing pigeons.
Right.
You race them and they come back home. Mine got lost and went to New York.
Well, none of them pecked on me, thankfully.
Yeah. No, none of them pecked on you. Well, I noticed you have no seed anywhere else but your shoulders. Maybe.
We'd have birds pecking down there, Terry.
So Aaron said, "Get away from me."
Get away from me, buddy.
Oh, that's
so
sad.
We just want to see if
I
another.
apologize for him.
Thank you. So you're not going to tell me to get away from me?
Absolutely not.
Thank you, Terry.
I'm honored that I'm next to you, bub.
Thank you, Terry.
Unbelievable.
Terry Bradshaw working on behalf of Ford in the Hall of Fan coming up this weekend. The Hall of Fans from Ford. This was such a pleasure.
Thanks,
you, Terry.
DA. Good to see you guys. Keep
You
up
too.
the great work.
Thank you.
Aaron Rodgers ought to be ashamed of himself.
Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T-S. Jets. Jets. Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Is Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
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 Thank you, Jack.
J-E-T-S, Jets.
Let's go, Jets!
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman Ed just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up.
Let's go, Jets.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
It's so succulent
Gary
and
Wilson
delicious.
gonna catch the passes. Stop me up.
Kai Horton.
45 seconds remaining. $30 remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Thirsty Thursday, everybody. You can send us your toasts over the course of the morning at DA on CBS or on the phones at 855-212-4CBS. And you can check out the show on your phone. Pop up the free Odyssey app or the free CBS Sports app and stream us free. So Ja Morant is going to be out 8 games for the Memphis Grizzlies, likely to come back next week, although that's still not a definite yet, and went to go speak to therapists and go into counseling. And I think the important thing to take away here is that if you're searching for solutions, no matter how alpha you may feel or how much you might put up a facade of in control, I've got it figured out, etc., that these are people that can help. These are people that can help. Seeking out people that might have a different perspective on what tools you can use is a really good exercise. And stigma of using therapists and counseling has diminished over the years, and that's a good thing. But still, it can still be there, certainly for professional athletes or alpha males or sometimes guys just in general feel like they need to always have the answers and be in control. And the big takeaway here is hopefully Ja did figure out what he can do to change behaviors and to remain more focused on the important things and recognize a greater perspective of what can be lost. But also it is instructive that no matter what you go through in life, it can help knowing that there is resources to use to get to solutions. And sometimes, maybe oftentimes, that means counseling, therapists, etc. These are people that have degrees and professional experience in helping others navigate problems. So I think it's a cool thing that seems like Ja got some clarity using professionals like that, and we all should be willing to do things of that nature. When we come back here on the show, did Zeke screw future running back deals? Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Is Jack Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
go, Jets.
Thank you, Jack.
Jets. Jets.
Let's go, Jets!
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman Ed just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up.
Let's go, Jets.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
It's so succulent
Gary
and
Wilson
delicious.
gonna catch the passes. Start me up.
Kai Horton.
The regular season.
Wait, who is this?
Durant.
Thanks for listening, guys. Full-time adventure day.
4 to 6 weeks. Enjoy the pine, buddy. Enjoy the pine. Thank you for Mikal Bridges. Enjoy that pine. Eat that, Phoenix. Eat it.
Let's do it. Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you want to go where you can listen to DA. From Boise to Erie, PA. You ought to be where you can see the people are all the same. You ought to be where everybody knows your name. You ought to go where you can go. The troubles are all the same. You ought to be where everybody knows your name.
Let's go, Jets!
1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds.
Tiger now. Brown sugar. Why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets!
Brown sugar.
Mornings are hard. Your sports radio show doesn't have to be.
I'm so happy you guys are still alive.
I am excited.
I am so happy. Laugh and learn every morning aboard the mothership.
Ooh. Have a good day, and all my homies gonna ride today.
a good day with DA.
Hey, duh.
I do love the duh.
Happy Being Alive Day.
Mornings on CBS Sports Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah! Happy Being Alive Day, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. It is a Thirsty Thursday. We're toasting to the good stuff. You can hit me up on Twitter at DA on CBS or on the phone at 855-212-4CBS. Rob of the 321 tweets, it's only 6:46 in the morning, and the show is already off the rails. It's freaking fantastic. Keep the insane train going. Hashtag Rolling Stearns. Well, you guys are in for a real treat here. Hour number one was heading towards the abyss. Edwin Diaz injured his knee last night, celebrating in the WBC. So Pete the Body was beside himself with sorrow seeing the Mets All-Star closer go down in an exhibition tournament, celebrating. But last hour after sound check, we had too many laughs and too many dance moves and too much ridiculousness. And so now we use that momentum carried into hour number two for perhaps the biggest hour of the year for the DA show. In this hour, we will have a musical guest coming up in 20 minutes. And the said musical guest has been here since the doors opened. It was like he was camping out for Duke tickets. He had a tent outside the lobby. It was amazing. He was here bright and early. He's an award-winning solo artist, and he's going to introduce us, coming back from break next segment, to then deliver the biggest news of the year, the date of the Bob's Bar Show. We've got the Bob's Bar Show date coming your way in 20 minutes. And so
this is facts.
That's really exciting for obvious reasons. You'll want to hop on Orbitz or Expedia or whatever travel website you use. Call your travel agent and say, okay, this is the date for the Bob's Bar Show. Tell me how I get to West Babylon, New York. What train do I take to get to this madness? In doing so, we then will fold into hour three, where we have Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus in studio, and he is going to help us taste test Dr. Pepper flavored Peeps. Now, Kaplan has procured this, a curiosity for all of us. And as you see, as I'm holding it up to the TV cameras, it says sold as a set. Now, I don't know why Peeps need to be sold as a set. It looks like it's just 3 boxes of the same thing. I don't think that box 1, 2, and 3 are unique in any way. But here they are, 3 boxes of Dr. Pepper flavored Peeps. And for good measure, I have brought in birthday cake flavored Peeps as well that we're going to taste test. And if I'm looking on the other side of the glass, currently, it appears that Mraz has a very special treat as well. What do you have?
Andrew Bogish has brought in Peeps flavored Pepsi.
Wow.
So if anybody's looking for a good bellyache today, you found one.
I can tell you this, just so you know, it says there's only 27 calories per chick.
Oh, you know, that's like 6 minutes on the Peloton.
Not bad. However, 1 serving of chicks, which is 2.5 chicks, gives you 50% of your daily sugar. If you eat the entire pack of Peeps, and there's 8 of them in here, or 10 of them, that gives you 120% of your daily sugar. So that's it. You eat one of these, your whole day's worth of sugar is out the window.
You know, thankfully I don't love Peeps. Maybe I'll just eat the Peep head.
So that's all coming up this morning on the show. Big stuff, big stuff. And we may have just coined a new fight song for the New York Jets. Last night, on JR Sport Brief, Jack was filling in for the one and only Shep, and Jack gave JR his rendition of the Jets, Jets chant.
Let's go, Jets.
Which, again, is not what any Jets fan ever says. Phil is in Durham this morning here on the DA Show. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, DA. Can you beat me up?
Yes, sir.
First, I want to say thank you to all you guys. I've been listening to your show now on and off for about 10 years. I remember going back when you were doing the overnights.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. That's a long time ago, man. Thank you.
Well, but I got to say, I hate to say this, but a few brain cells have been killed over the years because of that habit.
Yeah, I know. Us
mostly
too.
due to certain things like Brazilian pyramids and things like that. But this is probably the first time in 10 years where I can't blame Mraz for this one.
Okay.
What the hell? I'm a Jets fan, and what in God's name was that?
What
was that?
Yeah, which part? The "Let's Go Jets" chant?
Yes. Why? I mean, why? Why? I mean, have we not gone through enough as Jets fans that someone now has to completely butcher the one thing we have, which is the chant? I mean, have we gotten to that point? Are we that low?
Yeah.
Are we that low now?
To be quite fair, I don't think we should judge anything in terms of sports knowledge or tradition based on Jack's reference points. So I think you're okay.
That sounds like Jack's going to do the beginning of the song, The Car Wash.
Jets, 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 Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Down at the car wash. Down at the MetLife, yeah. Oh, yeah. At the MetLife. We're watching Rodgers, yeah. Oh, yeah. Down at the MetLife.
Let's go, Jets.
We're watching Breece Hall, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let's go, Jets.
So, yesterday, the Dallas Cowboys flat out release Zeke, and I think this is only going to be bad news moving forward for any running back that wants a second contract. How are the Giants playing Saquon Barkley right now? They are basically telling him you're not going to get a multi-year deal, and if you do, you're going to have to take a haircut on it. You can do a franchise tag 1-year deal, but after that rookie contract runs out, you just don't want to ever invest good money in a running back, no matter how productive that he is. I mean, remember how good that Zeke was his first 4 seasons. His rookie year, Pro Bowl, 1,600 yards, 15 touchdowns. Zeke actually ripped off a 60-yarder that year. Zeke was athletic. He was powerful. He was great at the goal line. He broke tackles. He could run away from guys. As a rookie, Zeke was, if not the best running back in football, one of the best 2 or 3. Offensive Rookie of the Year, 3rd in the MVP vote, a Pro Bowler. He did everything. Year 2, got injured, but still nearly ran for 1,000 yards in only 10 games. His rookie season averaged 109 yards per game. Second year, averaged 98. Third year, averaged 95, ran for 1,400 yards, and led the league again. So 2 out of his first 3 years led the league in rushing, 2 Pro Bowl nods. Year 4, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns, another Pro Bowl nod. In his first 4 years, his 3 full seasons made the Pro Bowl and ran for a minimum of 1,300 yards in each of those seasons. That was his rookie contract. 3 Pro Bowl years, 3 seasons of 1,300 yards or more, and all 3 years averaged 80, 90, or 100 yards per game. And then the contract set in. And in 2020, at the tender age of 25 years old, this was the COVID season, he played in 15 games and ran for less than 1,000 yards. He averaged 65 yards per game. dropping 20 yards per game in production from 2019 to 2020. And this is when the Dallas Cowboys began splitting carries with him. By 2021, he again played in all 17 games, but only ran for 1,000 yards. His average yards per game crashed to 58. And then this past season, ran for 876 yards, lowest average yards per game of his career. Last 3 years, after he got the contract, no Pro Bowls. He's splitting time with Tony Pollard. And Pollard really becomes the feature back of the Dallas Cowboys offense. The moment that the Cowboys invested big resources, big money in their running back, he immediately became no longer valuable. As soon as he got that money, he stopped being worth that money. That the Cowboys had paid him for what he did instead of what he was going to do. And ultimately, that's what every GM is balancing right now. Will Zeke make another Pro Bowl the rest of his career? Probably not. Because probably at this point, he's always going to be the second back in a two-back system. He would have run for three Pro Bowl seasons, 4 1,000-yard campaigns, and has more than 8,000 yards in his career. And by the time he was 25 years old, you wouldn't want to pay him. I think from here on out, and I suppose there's the rare anomaly of a guy like Derrick Henry, where they didn't use him exclusively in his first 2 seasons, and so it extends his career on the backside by 2 seasons. That, if you've got a 4-year rookie contract or a 5-year rookie contract, the first 2 years are kind of irrelevant. But by and large, if you have a stud running back, once you use up the rookie contract, there's almost no reason ever to give him a multi-year deal. You would then just give him the franchise tag, if even that, and go year by year. And if he sits out like Le'Veon Bell and says, I'm not doing it, you say, fine, we'll draft the next guy. Because how many running backs slide in and are productive every single season from mid to late round picks? It's not like you can't find them, and it's not like they're not productive right away. There's too many of these guys in the NFL that come in 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, and are just as good as your studs at running back that you have invested a high draft pick in right away. Zeke got banged up. Zeke got overweight. Zeke got less productive. And I think, honestly, he is just another cautionary tale of giving a running back big money. Now, maybe he's a little bit, again, of an anomaly because Zeke was a big boy already and got bigger. And Saquon Barkley is like a physical freak. I mean, you're not going to see Saquon Barkley popping out of his jersey with a tummy the same way that Zeke was. I mean, Zeke got overweight. Zeke got heavy. I'm going to avoid using the F word here.
Yeah, he liked to eat.
And it showed. And that hindered his production. A guy like Saquon's going to be just a physical specimen no matter how long he plays. But, I mean, honestly, Mraz, if you are a team with a star running back on a rookie contract, the moment that deal is over, I don't see how you could ever give a guy multi-years, and that goes for the Giants right now with Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, and by the way, the Raiders just tagged Josh Jacobs. It goes for them as well. Yeah, I mean, Alvin Kamara doesn't look like the same player. The only guy who still looks really good, ironically, last year, but let's see if he stays healthy, is Christian McCaffrey, and he had to get traded just to a team that could absorb his cap hit. So it's an enormous, enormous mistake. And you're seeing all these guys, even the fringe running backs on the next year, move all over in free agency now. So it is impossible. Good luck, Chargers and Titans, finding good trade partners for Eckler and Henry, by the way.
Look at those two guys.
Why would you trade for any of those guys right now?
Those are the two of the best guys in football, and they're being shopped by their their teams because, it's just we can find your replacement real cheap, and we feel very confident we can do that in a later round draft pick.
It's not fair, but it's what a classic life isn't fair. It sucks to be a running back.
And that's the only position that this really happens. Almost every other position you get rewarded for your success in your first 4 years. You get that extension. Every other position. It's the only position where the moment you're done with your rookie contract, everyone's like, yeah, we're not interested.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers just finished his 18th year in Green Bay. How many different running backs do you think have been with him?
But, even look at, right, exactly. Orlando Brown gets that huge deal. Javon Hargrave gets a huge deal. Kickers can hang around forever. Nobody ever says, oh, you're too expensive. Long snappers, punters. Everybody else has these careers where you get rewarded because people assume that if you're good enough, it's hard to find you. And with running backs, if you're good enough, A, your production drops precipitously, and B, we can find you in later rounds.
And not only can we find you, we can find analytically 2 of you to equal you and not pay the same amount of money and still get that production.
It's just crazy. The moment that he got paid, immediately the value of Zeke went it plummeted. When we come back, it's a huge announcement. We've got a musical guest introducing the date of the Bob's Bar Show. Stick around. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
E-T-S, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
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 Thank you, Jack.
J-E-T-S, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
The only radio show where listeners are invited to their childhood homes. The DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
Wow. How angelic. That is the one and only Foxy on the bagpipes. A star on those windy bags. And what song was that, Foxy?
That was Peg Ryan's Polka, DA, because we are dancing into March Madness.
Peg Ryan's Polka as we dance into March Madness. That is beautiful. That is really beautiful. I could fall asleep listening to those. It's like hearing white noise, the rain falling, a stream, and then...
It's exactly the same thing.
The Peg's Polka.
I think everybody here on the 10th floor can agree that they can fall asleep to that.
I can fall asleep permanently to that.
It's so good that Foxy's here because he's going to be playing us in and out of commercial breaks over the course of this hour. We have a huge, huge announcement to deliver. And so... maybe, Foxy, you can give us one more little song here.
I prepared this tune for Pete. He's feeling pretty down about Edwin Diaz, and so this is going to be for all the Met fans out there.
Okay. Wow, that is beautiful. That is really beautiful. Foxy on the bagpipes, and that really sets the tone today.
For what?
Foxy's getting comfortable. Hey, Foxy, maybe to come back out.
What's your take on Edwin Diaz?
I don't know what Sean's saying, but I'm sure it's very, very kind.
So, Foxy, you've actually played the bagpipes. Now, Foxy is a childhood friend of Mraz. You've played the bagpipes at assorted St. Patty's Day celebrations and parades.
Oh, yeah. I'm part of the County Cork Pipe Band. We'll be marching down Fifth Avenue around 2 o'clock tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day. Then we're going out to Yonkers on Saturday and Pearl River up by UDA on Sunday.
Okay, wow, that's really exciting. And you've played other ceremonies and parades in the last couple of years since we heard you play on the show last.
Yes, I do find more gigs than playing in Sean's parents' backyard. Believe it or not, a couple weddings here, occasional funeral, Mets funeral.
Have you played a funeral before?
Yeah, you played very slow, and you try not to be seen, just heard.
Wow, okay. So, and what's the name of the band?
The County Cork Pipe and Drums. Damon, I actually have a little gift for you today.
I saw that. Thank you so much. This is so kind of you. Foxy has brought in a County Cork Pipes and Drums T-shirt. It's deep dark green for St. Paddy's Day. It has the Luck of the Irish, the flag on the back along with the American flag. It's got a really cool crest, County Cork Pipes and Drums, and, this is really nice. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dave. We're actually, we're selling the shirts out there because the band got invited to go to Cork for Easter weekend to celebrate, the 100-year anniversary of the end of the Irish Civil War, which I'm sure some people, might forget.
Yeah.
And then it's to celebrate Easter weekend for the 1916 Easter risings that occurred.
Wow. You're going to Cork.
Yeah, we're going to Cork.
What is that, a wine bar?
We're going international this year at DA.
Yeah, Mraz just asked if that's a wine bar.
It's a what? A wine bar?
Yeah, Cork. It's a bad joke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I think he really thinks that.
I'm saying, what is Cork?
No, there are many counties in Cork, just like we have states here in the United States. And Northern Ireland, which is the northern 6 counties, which is part of the United Kingdom. The 4 countries
Cork's
that are
in
part of the
Ireland.
United Kingdom.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cork is a place.
And you guys think I'm crazy going to Mexico to see Dave Matthews? I'm going to be in Ireland to see Foxy and his band play.
You're traveling to go see Foxy?
I'm a groupie.
Wow.
I'm all in.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's exciting.
The mothership is going international, DI.
All right. Wow, that is really exciting stuff. And so we've got a big announcement, everybody. We've got the date of the Bob's Bar show. We have cleared this by Bob and Nancy. They're not going to faint upon hearing this, are they?
We'll put it this way. There's still other details. The date has been cleared. The amount of people has not been.
Okay, so here was the decision-making process. In previous years, we have done this the week of Memorial Day. And we felt, you know what? That impinges upon people's Memorial Day plans. They might be out of town. They might be traveling. They might be hosting a barbecue or something. We don't want to do that. So let's take that off the table. And so then we started spinning forward a little bit because later in the summer, better, warmer weather. Hoping for a nice sunny day in West Babylon for all of the D-aliens and all of the revelry to happen under the sun and warmth and, have a good time, everybody in T-shirts, shorts, etc., having some beers. Maybe the Bayou Bear comes shirtless again. That was always a treat to see back in the day. I remember bringing my children to go see Bayou Bear shirtless, sunning out there.
Did you rent kids for a day to bring them to see? My kids came once. They're not coming back again because of Bayou Bear.
I remember back, just nostalgically speaking, the tradition of Bob's Bar. I remember one year way back when I was just a kid, but going to Bob's Bar and there was a child that ate dog puke. That was a really special moment.
To be fair, it was originally her food.
Started an investigation into that child's father. We haven't heard from him since.
And so we fast forward a couple of weeks into June, get a little warmer. We're going to do it Friday, June 16th. Friday, June 16th. That gives us a full 3 months from today. 3 months from today, June 16th. Now, that Sunday is Father's Day, and we felt this would be an appropriate weekend to do it, Friday, going into the weekend, because maybe you were planning on doing something with your dad. Maybe you are a dad, wanted to do something with your kids, and what could be better than joining us for the Bob's Bar show? Also, we feel like this is a great date for all parties involved, the D-aliens to come travel, the Mraz household, because remember, this is also a de facto retirement party for Bob. So kind of a way to say thank you to Bob as a dad. Think about it. We wouldn't have Bob's Bar without Bob.
Yeah, it would just be a bar.
It would just be a bar.
A house.
Lawn, it'd be grass.
But Bob's energy was always to build a place of gathering in the yard. He wanted people from neighboring towns up and down the block to come see it. Little did he know it would become an international sensation. But for Bob, he is now retired. A couple of weeks ago, he said goodbye as a deli slicer. And, not a dry eye in the house at Food Town in Bay Ridge.
No, there was not. There was not a dry eye.
And so imagine the scene where, for the last time, Bob slices the Genoa. Okay? And as he does his final slice, he gets up, he doffs the cap, okay? Takes off the gloves, puts them down next to the slicer, and there's DJ Tommy D standing ovation as Bob walks out for the final time. No, Bob had us on in Food Town. Okay, so we were between 6 and 10 Eastern time what all shoppers at Food Town heard. Okay, so he's as important as it comes to the show. Obviously, he helped raise Mraz into the wonderful human that he is. Perhaps he could have supported Mraz's exploits in hockey a little bit more, but who am I to say?
He wasn't Tim Horton.
So Friday of Father's Day weekend, we thought, you know what? Warm, great. It's not a holiday weekend where you should be traveling. Gives you a little breathing room if you are traveling for Memorial Day weekend. And also, it's a chance to serenade Bob, celebrate Bob. And if you want to be there for a Father's Day weekend, like travel with your kids or your family, it's a good excuse to do so. If you want to get back, we got a Friday. You can head back on Saturday to wherever you live. And then, boom, you're back for Sunday Father's Day. We felt it was the best of all worlds.
And an extra caveat by picking that date as I've looked ahead. That has the potential to be either Game 5 or 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. You could potentially see the Rangers win their first Stanley Cup since 1994 at Bob's Bar to cap off that night.
I don't know why you would jinx it like that. I thought you were going to say you're going to get a live Canadian bacon from the Bob's Bar show.
No, we don't joke around during that, but this could be the night the Rangers bring one home.
But either way, okay, that should be NBA playoffs, deep into the NBA playoffs. NBA Finals, right?
Last year we did the show after Game 1.
That's right.
Yeah.
We could have an NBA champ by then.
So what we're going to have for that date is morning show, Bob's Bar, obviously. Gates will open at 6 a.m., but you can tailgate earlier.
Well,
quietly.
Where? I don't know if Nance is going to love hearing that. I wouldn't recommend that.
But at 6 a.m., gates open.
Lots open 5:50. Gates open 5:59. Show starts at 6.
I'm actually picking Zach Gelb off the 5 a.m. train so he can start parking early.
Gelb is going to be parking all of your cars, dressed as Matt Rule, Nebraska years, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, he got the free gear from Rule already.
Okay. And then gates open at 6. We do the show until 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. is when the live music begins. Hopefully we'll have Jay Magnus again.
It was J House Rocks, but I mean, if we get his name right, we get his name right.
Right shirt's wrong for you.
We got 3 months to know his name.
Yep. So we'll have live music. Band will begin at 10 a.m. We'll carry you through lunch.
DA's nap at 10:05.
My nap comes at 10:05. I'll be back with you guys at 11:10.
Can we listen live to your BetQL conference call or watch you type a column that you could have written on Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's going to be a DA Show Fan Fest where Jack takes you through the nuptials of his favorite porn star, and you can watch me type up my Friday column.
Good point. Although Nance has already checked in, my mother, and said, this Jack Stern's creeping me out. I don't want him anywhere near Bob's Bar.
Okay.
So.
All right. And then you feel free to stay throughout the day. Caserta did last year. Dan in Mechanicsburg did as well. The party continues throughout the day into the night, and then there will be either tip-off of an NBA Finals game, face-off of an NHL Stanley Cup Finals game, or both, and then everybody's welcome into a night of partying to watch sports.
And that's code for DA saying, feel free to stay as long as you want. Me, Bogues, and Peter leaving, but Mraz will have to be there to entertain you.
That's right.
Because that's essentially what happened last year.
I think I would have stayed, except that was the night that I actually got invited to Game 2 of the Eastern Conference
Don't
Finals.
rewrite history. You were on your way home, and you got a call about going to Game 2 of the Eastern Conference Finals.
That's right. Okay. Well, either way.
I got to get out of here, guys. I'm getting to the Garden, please.
Either way, Knockout Neil is welcome to stay as long as he wants.
Great. I deal with him after 6 beers.
And let the games begin. So I'm thrilled. I think it works for everybody. Again, June 16th, Friday of Father's Day weekend. And we'll have for you a one sheet, as they say in the business, for information of travel. How far Mraz's parents' house is from the 3 airports, how the Long Island Railroad will work to get you to and fro, regional hotels, local hotels, and we'll also get you a rate if you'd like to stay with Caserta.
They'll be paying you.
Yeah, he has a block of rooms like a wedding.
If you'd like to share a room under the Caserta last name, we've got a rate for you at the Best Western.
The motel behind the Red Lobster who hasn't been renovated.
For this event.
Yeah, you could stay with the Schwartzes. There's an open home there, I'm sure. And as Mraz shows the camera right now, those are his 3. Oh, God. That's his underwear that the loser of the NIT bracket has to wear, and there are legitimate brown stains in it.
I'm going to throw up.
Oh, it looks like it was tethered to the back of a Mack truck muffler. It has just a big circular brown. Oh,
looks like it was ran over by
like
a truck.
Cigarette smoker was exhaling into his underwear.
It looks like it was ran over by a truck, then run over again.
And now it's on his head.
It's like I'm cutting down the nets after the Final Four.
Oh, God.
That's the NIT.
I mean, I guess kudos to the physical stature of and the survivability of those shorts. How do they get?
Kudos to the company.
They're 14 years old.
They're actually from 2008, and they've lasted not that many holes, just a few holes. And honestly, I mean, I've worn them every week since 2008, so I'm going to finally hang them up at Bob's Bar.
Ralph Lauren should get a tax write-off for that.
Oh, my God. So everybody said yesterday's PGP was like, oh, I don't know if the punishment is so bad. This has just jumped the punishment up to... Oh.
But at least there's clothes between that and our bodies.
Yeah, but you still have to wear, even over your bathing suit, a piece of cloth that has been directly attached to his rectum for the last 15 years.
Plot twist, I'm in last place.
Good. Oh, and that's also the jersey that we will be wearing, that he's wearing right now. Is that a Kenyon Martin?
Yeah, it's a Kenyon Martin, size XL. 2002, this jersey was purchased.
Please take down that underwear. It is so reprehensible.
Well, I'm just giving everybody a feel for what's to come. The
Feel
antics.
for what?
Oh, God. Oh, God. All right. Bogue says headlines.
You want me to talk now? Fairleigh Dickinson made the NCAA tourney before winning the NEC tourney, since Merrimack's ineligible for the postseason as it moves to D1. The Knights still won that final and has now routed Texas Southern, the first four in Dayton, 84-61 last night. Friend of the show, Tobin Anderson, their head coach, feeling good in the post-game locker room, courtesy of CBS.
I want Purdue to see this, right? I walked in breakfast this morning, Cam. What did you say to me, Cam? Merles, where's Cam Merles? Wait. He said, the more I watch Purdue, the more I think we can beat them. He said, sir, let's go shock the world. Let's go do this. Yes, sir.
Let's go, Jets.
That game with Purdue's in Columbus tomorrow. Arizona State gets to face TCU tomorrow after thumping Nevada last night, 98-73. The Sun Devils led by 27 at halftime. The women's first four began with wins from Mississippi State and Sacred Heart. And then there's the NIT. Oklahoma State survived that trip to Youngstown State, 69-64. Right. UCF with a 67-49 win at Florida. And Oregon handled UC Irvine 84-58. Mets closer Edwin Diaz injured his right knee, celebrating after getting the final out of Puerto Rico's 5-2 win over the Dominican Republic to reach the WBC quarters last night in Miami. Diaz eventually left the field in a wheelchair. The Mets say he'll undergo further imaging today. Team USA survived Colombia 3-2 to reach the quarters last night. They'll face Venezuela next. Japan has taken a 4-0 lead on Italy in the bottom of the fourth in their quarterfinal in Tokyo. Shohei Ohtani has K'd 5 through 4, and he has scored a run. Steph Curry scored 50 last night, but the Warriors still lost on the road.
Bounce pass, man, open on the left wing, driving middle to the dotted line, hook it outside. George, a left wing three, book it! Paul George, butter! And the Clippers lead by 13, their largest of the night. 132-119, timeout Warriors.
Noah Eagle on Clippers Radio. George scored 24, 30 from Kawhi in the 134-126 final. The Celtics held on for a 104-102 win in Minnesota. The Lakers losing in Houston 114-110 without Anthony Davis. And the Mavs survived the Spurs 137-128 in overtime without Luka and Kyrie. It's an 8-game suspension for Ja Morant for live streaming him and a gun in a Denver nightclub 2 weekends ago. The league says its investigation concluded the gun did not belong to Morant. He did not bring it to the club, and it was never on the team plane. Morant can play as soon as Monday, but will take more time than that dealing with his off-court issues. NFL yesterday, Fletcher Cox reportedly turned down better offers to stick with the Eagles for $10 million for the coming season. The Patriots adding wideout Juju Smith-Schuster, and the Panthers bringing in former Eagles running back Miles Sanders. And on ice, Pete did get a 6-3 Islander win in Anaheim last night, and the Avalanche were 2-1 winners in Toronto. Nathan McKinnon was the shootout-ending man. DA, back to you.
Oh, man. YouTube's D-Alien chat is going crazy right now with the Mraz underwear. GG tweets, I definitely have some holy underwear, but nothing with perma poop stains. That's nasty. Perma stains. What?
Pete said we got to be careful what we say.
I can't say perma, perma stains. Perma brown stains.
Perfect.
Okay. Cam says, that's foul, Mraz. This is not funny.
I didn't invent this bet. DA did.
Yeah, but the point is that you're proud of perma brown stains on your underwear.
I'm proud that I'm going to retire them as part of this event.
There should be no pride attached to them, though, however you want to describe it.
If they were blue, you wouldn't notice.
I have a question. How is it a punishment if he loses that he wears his own underwear?
Because he's got to wear maybe like a Speedo underneath?
Well, he does have to get slapped by a kielbasa.
Yeah, I'm going to have 3 hot dogs in my mouth. And by the way, I took on the belch before I even knew I was going to lose.
This is going to be like a pleasure cruise for him.
I got to be honest
in
with
the
you.
face. He's going to get hit with a kielbasa.
This is
like his Toys R Us.
Pete's not wrong. This is as much as I've looked forward to a loss in my life.
Fine with me. I don't care if he looks forward to it. I just want to make sure I don't have to do it.
I get it. First of all, I get to eat hot dogs. I get one of my heroes slapping me in the face with a kielbasa and burping in my face. And I get to go swimming. This is like a Toys R Us. It's a fat guy's decathlon.
Okay. Foxy is in with the bagpipes. He's our musical guest today. We're going to come back and discuss the cheapskate Yankees, but he's going to play us out to break.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Shep is here, executive producer of the JR Sport Brief Show. Shep, so good to see you.
DA, great to be here. I very quickly, I just want to say,
now
everybody here, thank you so much for coming out and supporting us. I know it is so early. You support DA Show, you support CBS Sports Radio. As a matter of fact, Mr. and Ms. Rash, thank you so much for having us. I know this took a lot of effort, a lot of thought, and a lot of will. And to you guys, really, truly, like, we don't do this in radio. Like, this is atypical of radio. Like, half of y'all know this, just being families of people in radio. This is so unique and just so bizarre in a good way. We're stuck at stations like 24/7, like commuting 2 hours just to get to a station. You see one person every single day. So thank you so much for what you guys are doing as a DA show. Really, truly, it's awesome. Pete,
what is wrong with you? Are you like on another planet or something?
You know, Pete. I try to speak candidly and openly. We're giving the nicest person. You know what? You booed louder than anybody here. The nicest person at CBS Sports Radio. This man's our future boss. You better be smart. Who do you think I'm looking at right now? Connor Green. Are you booed him louder than anybody?
I booed you.
Okay. I didn't see you booing me. I saw you looking at him and booing him.
I did not boo Connor.
You booed Connor Green. Don't lie on the DA show.
I'm not lying.
6 to 10, seventh ranked radio show in the country and moving up. Do not insult his intelligence and lie.
Wait a minute. From day one,
here we
this
go.
Network, the biggest you-know-what stir on the 10th floor at 345 Hudson, constantly getting people to try and badmouth other people on the floor.
Pete.
Day one. Pete.
No.
Overnights, come into the newsroom.
No.
Pete.
Yeah.
Who do you think is the best host at this network?
Huh.
Wow, on the spot.
So you say
DA.
You still complaining about Pete?
He's
you see it? Yeah.
Go to Pharrell
Uh-huh.
and say, Pete doesn't think you're the best host. But this is what he does. What do you think of our boss? You think they run this place well?
I never said that.
From day one, constantly, well, come to me and ask me these questions.
This is
trying
not
to get me in trouble.
Why don't you complain about another host or a blue check mark?
I have nothing to complain. I have nothing to complain about.
I have nothing but respect for you, but I think you're being a little unfair because I never said that. You're just putting words in my mouth. You're trying to make something that make me look bad.
I'm not. That is you.
I've asked you one time. I've asked you one time who you think the best host is. I have a right to do that. I was a young up and coming guy. I'm trying to emulate and model myself after hosts like DA. I can't ask that question.
Around and bringing that information to
nowhere.
No, baloney.
Mark Chernoff wanted nothing to do with me.
All right. How's everybody enjoying Bob's Ball today? Huh?
Shep is here, executive producer of the JR Sport Brief Show. Shep, so good to see you.
DA, great to be here.
Minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
More laughs per capita than any other sports radio show. It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, happy St. Patty's Day tomorrow, everybody. We are ringing in The March Madness, start of March Madness today. We've also delivered the date of the Bob's Bar Show, June the 16th. That's Friday of Father's Day weekend. We like that because it helps celebrate Bob, Mraz's dad, for building a bar and inviting everybody on God's green earth there for a DA show episode, which is amazing. Plus, we're celebrating his retirement as well. And so that's the date of it. And Foxy has been kind enough to come in as our musical act today to take us in and out of breaks in this hour number 2. Tremendous effort from Foxy all morning long. The bagpipes were just beautiful. Really, truly something special to behold. And thanks to County Cork Pipes and Drums of New York for delivering us our musical interludes today. How about this story? 30 baseball teams, 30 of them. Only 2 don't pay for the Wi-Fi on the flight. Only 2, okay? Everybody else covers the cash of having Wi-Fi for all players and staff on the flight. Okay? That's the tune of $40,000. I believe I read this, or maybe $400,000. I got to double check on that. But still, 2 teams will not pay, do not pay to cover in-flight Wi-Fi for the players. Now, these are all charter flights, so I'm surprised that you still have to pay for the Wi-Fi. But it's $40,000 for the season, $40,000. The Cincinnati Reds, predictable, maybe the cheapest organization in baseball and an organization that has thumbed its nose at the fans. What are you going to do about it? You're just lucky we're here, which is just so disturbing and distasteful and disgusting, and I railed on that last year around this time. The other team, you want to take a guess? Marlins, you say? No. Rays, you say? Mm-mm. Athletics? No. The only other team not to pay for the Wi-Fi on their charter flights for their players, again, it's only $40,000 for the season. The New York Yankees, the most valuable franchise in the sport. The cheap skate Yankees. Now, you think George would have not gone the extra mile for the players to have Wi-Fi on the flight? This is a baby Steinbrenner that apparently doesn't want to go the extra mile. And I got to say, out of all the things that are sad about the Yankees these days, not making a World Series since 2009, this might be the worst, Mraz. This might be the worst.
This is worse than when they had Star Wars Day or when they started blinking the lights after home runs. The Yankees have been trending this way for a long time. But you, after what you charge me for a bucket of chicken fingers, can't give Anthony Rizzo a little Wi-Fi for some HBO Max on a flight home. That is atrocious. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles are giving their players Wi-Fi.
Do you realize that $40,000 for the season is the equivalent of a half inning of work for Garrett Cole?
So maybe Garrett Cole should be picking up the tab for everybody's Wi-Fi. Now, that's the other thing. The players, they are not like me and you sitting on JetBlue going, can you believe this, Wi-Fi?
They got plenty of cash to cover it.
So nobody's feeling bad for them, but it's just all expenses should be covered here. I mean, what's next? We're going to charge them for their post-game buffet? If
28 teams do it and you don't, you're a problem.
Yeah, and don't justify by saying the Reds do it too. That's the last thing you want to do is be associated. This ain't 1977. You don't want to be associated with the Reds.
Is this just Steinbrenner Jr. just cutting corners everywhere?
Finding a cost cut at any turn. How could you do that? $35 for 6 chicken fingers and fries. Come on, what are we doing here? Give the guy some Wi-Fi.
They make Aaron Judge pay for his own Wi-Fi on flights. What a sin. When we return, let's do a little free agent pro football focus with Brad Spielberger, and we'll be taste testing peeps next. It's the spring kickoff show here on CBS Sports Radio. Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Is Jack Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
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 Thank you, Jack.
Jets. Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman Ed just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up.
Let's go, Jets.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
It's so succulent
Gary
and
Wilson
delicious.
gonna catch the passes. Stop me up.
Kai Horton.
Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T.
3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
CBS Sports Radio. Live from CBS Radio Studios in New York City, it's the DA Show with your host, Damon Amendolara, featuring producer Mraz and the musical sounds of the Zap Zap Orchestra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's DA.
All right, happy Thursday to you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. We are locked in across the CBS Sports Radio network on hundreds of affiliates nationwide, also on Sirius XM Channel 158, and stream us using the CBS Sports app or the free Odyssey app. All right, we're going to get into NFL free agency here in full. Our next guest has contributed to OverTheCap.com. He is a salary cap analyst for Pro Football Focus. He has a legal background and actually interned for the Vikings in that legal front. Joining us this morning in studio is Brad Spielberger. Brad, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing great, man. Hey, let's start with Aaron Rodgers. So what's the salary cap ramifications for the Packers trading away Rodgers?
I mean, they clear about $60 million in cash, so that'll be a boon for them. And the Jets take on this 4-year deal with about $16 million in cap hits in each year. So they cleared some room, cut some players, or restructured some players. But yeah, from the Packers' perspective, it's more about just saving some money.
So how much of the financial piece of this puzzle is what's the holdup? Do you think that the trade has to do more with the draft picks coming back or how the finances break down?
I think it's a mix of both. I do think it's part of it, especially you hear yesterday Rodgers saying he was 90% leaning towards retirement going into his darkness retreat. So if you're the Jets, the prospect of bringing on a 1-year, $60 million contract, yeah, he's Aaron Rodgers, but are you willing to do that? How much are you willing to pay in draft pick compensation on top of that? Probably not a ton. So I think it's a mix of both.
So is there 2 more years left on Rodgers' deal or just 1 more that the Jets have to absorb?
Technically, there's 4, but realistically, there's 2. Real cash. They kind of put some dummy years on the back end. But, yeah, I mean, the retirement's going to be a potential every offseason. But, yeah, realistically, 2.
Tell us about dummy years. How does that work?
Yeah, so with this contract, it's super unique, but for a lot of contracts, you can put essentially these void years, what they're usually called, not the case for Rodgers, but very common now. And essentially, it's placeholders where you can push cap hits down the road. The player is not actually going to be on the roster in those years, but you can clear money and spend more in the current year. So last year, for example, the salary cap was $208 million. The Rams spent $288 million in cash. But they pushed a lot of cap hits down the road. The Saints have been doing it forever. That's how you can be really aggressive in your roster construction.
Can you push cap hits as far down the road as you want, or is there a limit to how far in the future you can go?
So 5 years max. So you can push up to 5 years, and then it's a credit card, right? Eventually that credit card bill does come due.
Is that what's happening to the Rams right now?
That is what's happening to the Rams. That's why Jalen Ramsey's a Miami Dolphin. That's why Leonard Floyd is not there, and so on and so forth. That is what's happening.
Because over the last 5 years, they kept backloading, and then ultimately the tab comes due this league year?
To a degree, yes. So they kept doing it with all their contracts, mid-tier, and not even just the big deals. You give Aaron Donald that massive raise last year. You make all those moves, giving Cooper Kupp an early extension off of his prior extension. And, yeah, you just can't have all these big contracts, especially when they haven't had first-round picks. They have had a lot of picks, but not a lot of early picks to help kind of supplement that roster.
So Les Snead famously bleeped them picks, and now they're, again, kind of like chopping off a lot of salary. Can you reset your finances in one off season? By next year, will the Rams be healthy enough to go back in full?
I think you can if you're as aggressive as they're being, right? If you go half measures and kind of make a couple moves but try to still win, and they say competitive rebuild, all those buzzwords, that's when you can prolong it. That's when I think you're Atlanta, and the last 2 years have basically been throwaway seasons, right? If you just kind of take all the hits right up front, just get it over with, which I think LA is doing to a degree, then you can kind of, it can be pretty quick.
So the way that you see the Rams going this year is just a 1-year tank job. They don't care if they lose 14 games or so, and they're hoping that in 2024 they can restart.
I think it's their fastest path back, right? If you try to, like I said, try to kind of, do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, then you can make it last longer. You just take all those hits, get it over with. I think, you sell Aaron Donald on that. You sell Matthew Stafford on, hey, we're meant to be competitive this year, but 2024 we'll load up again.
Brad Spielberger joins us from Pro Football Focus, looking at the free agency period right now in the NFL. So what's been, in your estimation, the best value you've seen a contract so far in free agency go for? You're like, oh, man, they got that guy on a great deal.
It honestly may have been last night with the signing by the Cincinnati Bengals of Orlando Brown. Look, I think the narrative on him has kind of gone a little bit too far. You know, is he a top 5 left tackle? No. But, you know, $16 million a year in Cincinnati. It's basically a 3-year, $50 million deal. He does get some strong upfront cash flow, which is, of course, what matters most of all. But, I mean, to bring in a very good left tackle, take him away from an AFC rival, of course, in Kansas City. They've obviously made some moves getting Juwan Taylor and whatnot. But, yeah, great value for Cincinnati. You now have flexibility with Jonah Williams, with Lyle Collins. Both can play guard. I'm assuming one of them will be a guard or will be cut, going into next year in Lyle Collins' case. So I think it was a great deal.
So, A, the Bengals spending money is amazing. That's a great thing for Bengals fans to watch them absolutely make a priority to protect Joe Burrow and spend money doing it. But B, do you think that was a casualty of the Patrick Mahomes contract that the Chiefs didn't re-sign Orlando Brown?
I honestly think they made a decision, right? Because Juwan Taylor's contract is honestly stronger. It's 4 years, $80 million versus 4 years, $64 million. He gets $60 million in full guarantees. Orlando Brown got about 43, it sounds like. So, no, I honestly think they just decided, we traded a first-round pick for this guy, thought he could be that left tackle of the future, and just don't feel that way anymore.
What do you think about the guaranteed deal that Deshaun Watson got and the ramifications around the league, specifically for Lamar Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a coincidence that one owner that went on record not being super pleased about it was Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner. It's tough. Where Watson, and people ask me, is that going to set a precedent? Or are people going to try to copy that? Watson was effectively a free agent at like 26 years old, top 10 quarterback, and because of his no-trade clause, was kind of allowed to dictate terms with all the other teams. So him and his agent did a very good job there, whereas with Lamar Jackson, with Joe Burrow, with Justin Herbert, the teams will have the leverage of, we're going to franchise tag you if you don't take a more standard structure like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Josh Allen. So that's why, it is complicating matters. I get why Lamar Jackson's going for it. He's in the same division, has an MVP, all these things, but it's going to be very hard for players to replicate 5 years of fully guaranteed money.
Do you think that's going to be a one-off, that we never see that again?
Very possible. I think it would take, the thing too is certain owners simply can't do it. There's escrow, and not to get full into the weeds, but some owners that are richer can do it. Some realistically may not have the upfront cash flow to put all that money aside. So it's about a guaranteed thing, but also there's an escrow rule in the league. So yeah, I think it could very well be a one-off.
So that's interesting though, because we think of all these NFL owners owning billion-dollar franchises, and cash flow issue with all the TV money that's flowing in seems crazy, but that is a concern.
So, look, if your money is tied into equity from owning the team, if you're a founding franchise, you're a family-owned team, like a lot of them are. We're talking about the Bengals, talking about the Chargers with Dean Spanos,
Mark Davis with the Raiders.
Exactly right. Chicago Bears to a degree with the McCaskies, the Hallases. Versus, the Walmart money in Denver and Los Angeles with the Rams and Stan Kroenke, they are operating in different playing fields.
So you look at Jimmy Haslam, who bought the Browns based on all of the truck stop gas stations that he owns all across the country, et cetera. He's got a cash flow that he can actually cut a check up front for $30 or $40 million per season, $50 million per season for his quarterback. Jerry Jones could do something like that. Walmart money, like you said. But when it comes to other owners, they can't operate in that sphere, is what you're saying.
At least that's what they're telling us. So essentially what there's an escrow rule where fully guaranteed money in future years of deals has to be put aside. And that rule was originally for the player's benefit back when it was, the 60s, and you didn't know if you were going to get your next paycheck. These owners were not these billionaires, like you said, with $10 billion media rights deals and all those things. So it was to protect the players. I now do think it's more of kind of an excuse for owners to say, well, I can't put all this money in an escrow account. I don't have, like for Deshaun Watson, for example, it's 9 figures that Jimmy Haslam has to put aside and just not touch because of this rule. Some owners, they would have to sell equity in the team to get there, and they're obviously not trying to do that.
That's interesting. Brad Spielberger joins us from Pro Football Focus. When it comes to teams that are up against a cap and they're trying to get creative, it sometimes feels like, oh, we're up against the cap, sounds like an excuse. Does every team have creative ways to get around it if they really want to sign a player?
Yes, the cap is honestly less of a constraint than cash. So it's kind of same thing. But yeah, if you want to push cap hits down the road, like the Saints were talking about, every offseason they come in $60 million over the projected salary cap, and they restructure every deal, they negotiate some pay cuts, do a lot of different things. You can. I do think when an owner says the salary cap is kind of withholding his ability to make certain moves, it's usually an excuse.
What's the best free agent still available in your mind?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think there are still some interesting, potentially tackles out there. I think on the defensive side of the ball, there are some interesting players as well. I know Jordan Poyer went back to the Bills last night, and I'm kidding on the spot. Who is our top guy available still as of right now? I'll say the receivers. I think DJ Chark is interesting. I know the receiver market's been kind of dead, but you don't find 6'4", 4'3" speed very often. It's not a great draft class at receiver either. I think he's a guy that could make a pretty big impact in a new team.
That Russell Wilson deal has been said, well, they can't get out from under Russell Wilson for X number of years. Tell us what the path to the Broncos escaping Russell Wilson hell looks like.
Yeah, realistically, the earliest out is probably 2025. You could make a move next offseason if you want to. So basically, there's a thing called dead cap, which is you're paying these cap hits out to players, not cash, but you carry a cap hit for a player that would not be on your roster. So the record right now was Matt Ryan in Atlanta last year, about $40 million. The Falcons had a cap hit of $40 million for Matt Ryan to play for the Indianapolis Colts. If the Broncos want to move on from Russell Wilson next year, it's $80 million. So it would be double the record in the history of the NFL.
Per year?
Just for a single year, or you can spread it over 2 years.
You're kidding.
Right. So
the Broncos would have an $80 million hole if Russell Wilson doesn't play for them in 2023.
2024, right.
2024?
If they try to move on from him.
2 years from now.
Yeah. So, right, exactly. So in my opinion, you're basically stuck with him until the 2025 season.
And then what does it go down to in 2025?
It's still going to be, I would, top of my head, around $40-50 million. So it's still going to be a record dead cap hit. And that's because, the way you structure contracts with these massive signing bonuses, with option bonuses, which also prorate, like we talked about, it's a credit card. You can get away with it. You can do it. You can spend underneath it. Eventually, it's going to, the bill's going to come due.
But so let's just use some easy numbers here. Let's just say the cap is $200 million and you had an $80 million cap hit. That means you'd only be able to spend $120 million towards the salary cap that year?
Right. The rest of your cap allocations is that 40% of the entire thing is going to one player who might not even be on the team. Yeah, like I said, at the top of the show, Atlanta the last 2 years had all these massive dead cap hits for, Matt Ryan was a big one last year, but, just all Deion Jones, the linebacker, they move on to go to Cleveland. They carry I want to say $19 million dead cap hit for him. Like, you're carrying these huge burdens for guys that aren't even playing for you.
Okay, I'm looking at, this is amazing, the Russell Wilson dead cap hit. This year is $107 million.
Yep.
That's not what they owe him if he plays for him. That's if he leaves.
Yep.
And is that if he's traded or he's released?
So if he's traded, you can get rid of some salary, some guaranteed salary. That would help a little bit. But most of the dead cap is tied to the signing bonus that you can't mess around with signing bonus. Once you pay it out, once you prorate money, it's stuck on your books.
Oh, my God. So he has to play for the Broncos this year because it's a $107 million cap hit. Next year, 2024, it's an $85 million cap hit. So that seems impossible to absorb if he's not playing for you. And then 2025, it, quote, drops to $49 million. So still $50 million 3 years from now.
Yep, and that would still be the record for the largest dead cap hit in a single season for a player. Matt Ryan, like I said, at 40 was not the current record as of right now. So yeah, they are stuck with that contract, especially, they've been aggressive. They go out, add Mike McGlinchey, make a lot of big moves across the offensive line with Ben Powers, the guard from the Ravens. Like they are spending as well on top of it. They can't take this massive financial burden with Russell Wilson, especially now.
And then going into 2026, that's the potential out in it. That's when the cap hit drops, dead cap hit to $31 million. And then I think it says here in Spot Track that there's a potential out between 25 and 26.
Yeah, you could do 24, 25. It would be bad, but you could get away with it. But yeah, realistically, you probably don't want to do it until later on. At that point, he's 38. How good is he playing? It's probably the worst contract in the NFL for a team right now.
Maybe ever.
There's certainly an argument.
Maybe ever. So realistically, Broncos fans listening out there, Russell Wilson's going to be on your team minimum 2 more years, more than likely 3 more years, 23, 24, 25.
You better hope the Sean Payton comes in there and works his magic. I do think he's, if any coach this offseason that could do it, it probably is him. But yeah, I think they're going to run the ball a ton based on their signings, and he's not going to, quote unquote, let Russ cook. He's going to try to go back to run the ball, play action off of that, take shots downfield occasionally, but they're not going to throw the ball 35 times a game like Russ, seems to want to.
That's why they had to fire Nathaniel Hackett and try to find somebody who could fix Russell Wilson, because it's so cost prohibitive not to fix Russell Wilson. You have to.
That's the thing. And then you mentioned a trade. Who's going to take on that contract, right? No one's going to take him on. So, I think you bring in Sean Payton because he can say, and look, a lot of vindication for Pete Carroll. There was all those arguments about who's in the right here. Should they let him throw the ball more and be more of a drop back passer? I'm not saying Russell Wilson's terrible or can't do that, but clearly can't do it, to the degree that he apparently wanted to.
What did you think about the Geno Smith deal?
So one of the better deals for a team in the NFL, there's been an issue, I know it's probably a hot button thing in New York as well, where a mid-tier quarterback contract is very hard to sign. I mean, everyone's freaking out about Daniel Jones for $40 million a year. That's the market. No one was surprised by that contract that works in the contract space. It's very hard to convince a good player at that position to sign a mid-tier deal. $25 million a year for Geno Smith, the way he played last year, is a bargain.
So you thought that the Daniel Jones deal was just, that's the cost of doing business these days with a quarterback, even if he only had one good season?
100%. Like I said, I'm not saying I'm a fan of it, but I was not surprised by the numbers where they came in.
What does Zeke getting released yesterday do to the running back market for contracts in terms of after your rookie deal is over, trying to get a deal like Saquon Barkley?
It's borderline impossible at this point. I mean, the market, the reset has happened. Ezekiel Elliott signed for $15 million a year in 2019. Gets surpassed by Christian McCaffrey the following offseason, but I'm not sure running backs are going to reach that again for several years. And we're talking about the quarterback market, other positions that always are going to rise as the cap goes up, the position markets go up. There has been a true reset. Miles Sanders and David Montgomery getting around $6 million a year. Those were the top guys on the market this offseason. For Saquon Barkley, for Austin Eckler trying to get a trade apparently, I'm not sure any team is going to get into the 12, 13 million per year conversation on top of a trade.
So more than likely, and we were just talking about this an hour ago, Zeke is the last of a breed where you finish out your rookie contract and then get rewarded with a big contract after that. More than likely, you're going to have running backs drafted, play on a rookie deal, and then take haircuts for the rest of the time that they're in the NFL, right?
Right. And if you aren't willing to take kind of in your mind, below market deal, they'll just franchise tag you. You see Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, Tony Pollard, $10.1 million franchise tag. A team's just going to do that. They're not going to give you, I don't know what they're looking for, but 13, 14 is my estimation. I don't think teams are going there anymore.
And it makes you wonder what the reality is for a job for a 28-year-old running back, a 27-year-old running back, because if everybody's just going to look for the next running back in the draft and you just end up spending 5th rounders, 6th rounders, 7th rounders every single year of running backs, assuming that they're going to have a role, you'll find one to have a role on your team. By the time these guys get to 26 years old, 27 years old, there might not be jobs for these running backs.
Ezekiel Elliott is 27 right now, which is crazy to even think about. I feel like he's been in the ethos for 10 years now. But yeah, it is. You got to get paid early. I think you look at a guy like Nick Chubb, got a 3-year deal for about $36 million. At the time, you might say, he's worth more than that. Maybe the best pure runner in the NFL. That's kind of what you're looking at this point. Get extended early after 3 years, get paid as soon as possible. Because, you hit 28, 29 for a lot of these guys, and you're at the end of the road.
Really interesting stuff. This was great. Brad Spielberger joining us from Pro Football Focus. You can follow him on Twitter. All the PFF guys are easy to follow at PFF_ in their first name, at PFF_ Brad. Now, Brad, I know you're not a huge Peep guy, are you?
No.
Like all fair-minded individuals, you hate Peeps like all of us. But we have here Dr. Pepper flavored Peeps and Party Cake flavored Peeps, Mraz. Cap found the Dr. Pepper ones in his local grocery store. I found the Party Cake ones last night in my ShopRite.
Unbelievable turn. Peeps are like Oreos now. There's a million flavors.
A million. So we've got that, and we've also got Bogus brought in Pepsi, which is Peep-flavored soda. Peep-flavored Pepsi. So what we're going to do is a little taste test coming up here. Brad, can you stick around after the break?
Love to.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break here, come back. Everyone will have all of the peeps in front of them and a sip of this chemical-laden poison cola, peep-flavored Pepsi.
Take a sip of that.
We'll take a sip of that, and we'll take a bite of all of this with Brad, and we'll also do Stun 2 News coming up here next.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Is this to try to get a full-time job with her show?
Not necessarily, but if it opens up, I wouldn't push anyone away for it.
Okay. All right. So you're hoping that it wins some. It wins some.
Listen, I'll put it this way. I'm hoping it earns me a good word to the bosses down the hallway. That's all.
Because you can cook?
Yeah.
Because you can cook.
Well, if I'm a great producer and I can cook, there's two abilities there, right?
Also will melt the peep.
Yeah, I don't think there's any good strategy. The whole thing is you just have to dip the peep in and get some of the pepper or some of the tomatoes
some
on
is
this.
really the operative word here.
And then you just throw it down, okay? So I'm going to hand
Do you want to confirm I have enough on here?
Yeah. I think you need a little bit more. Mraz, come in here.
All right.
Okay, Mraz got to come in here because I want an unbiased observer here. You've got enough of the wetness on there, but I think you need a few chunks, right? Because that's not what would be on a tortilla.
I had a chunk on my plastic spoon last year for sure.
I had a couple of chunks.
Can we go to the neck a little bit?
What? Okay.
Go to underneath the beak.
Dip into the neck.
There you go.
Okay, now he's got a piece at least of the tomato on there.
Yup.
Okay.
I don't want to knock this over when I die.
Okay. So here goes Bogish in the outfit. It looks like his hand is trembling a little bit. He smells it.
It doesn't smell as hellacious as I thought it was going to smell.
Okay. Bogish counting down, looking at the peep.
There's an audience.
Yeah, we've got a whole audience on the other side of the glass. Hand trembling.
Yeah, I don't know how to attack this.
Puts it up to his mouth. Bites half of the peep, just the part of the peep with the salsa. He's chewing.
It's terrible.
Now he's going into the peep. He's now gone entire peep. Peep is done. He's chewing, wiping off his fingertips.
It's bad. It's getting worse. It's getting significantly worse. It's almost like it's designed to be like, to make you relax. This is not going to be that bad. It's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. Now he's going to go to the Nesquik.
I would never do it again, but so far it's okay.
Okay.
But again, here it comes. It's slowly spreading from the back of your esophagus forward in your mouth. It's been trying to get out of your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is.
Now his eyes are watering. There's an eyes.
There's nothing good about this.
Yeah, now you're all flush. You're pink and flush.
It's not good, DA.
Oh, it's the worst. His hands are trembling.
Yeah, when's it going to stop? You said it was like 5 minutes?
This is a train schedule.
Now he's gargling with Nesquik.
I mean, it really is. With all due respect to the Pepper Palace folks, and why would anyone ever want to do this?
I don't know. It's awful.
Oh, and it just keeps getting worse. Milk was a bad idea.
The bunny ears are still hanging over him.
Are they? I don't even feel anything else. Oh my God, it's terrible.
Your eyes are glossy. They're watering. Your
45 seconds remaining.
And like,
all red.
This helps.
And
then 3 seconds later, it doesn't.
This is the most color I've ever seen in Bogish. It looks like he was out of the beach for 3 days.
His face is as pink as the ears.
Long Beach. The ice cream.
30 seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
This is CBS. It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
We are dishing out the peeps. Welcome back, everybody. Happy kickoff to spring. Happy kickoff to the NCAA tournament. We are rocking and rolling. We'll give you our Final Four picks coming up later on in the show. Right now, though, we're taste testing peeps ahead of Stun to a News. What a day it has been. We're also announcing the date of the Bob's Bar Show, June the 16th. It's the Friday before Father's Day. We'll have your travel guide ready to go here some point this week. But it's a really exciting time for all of us as we kick off March Madness in style. Foxy was here. Foxy was playing the bagpipes. Just a really exciting time for everybody. Mraz is in studio. I'm dishing him and Pete the Body a few peeps. We got 2 different flavored peeps here. And Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus, kind enough to stay with us, and hopefully we don't kill him. That would hurt the salary cap coverage of free agency at Pro Football Focus. Bogues, are you a peeps guy?
I am not. I'm a Dr. Pepper guy. I'm a birthday cake flavored things. I'm a soda guy, but no thanks on peeps in general.
So we have Dr. Pepper flavored peeps. We have birthday cake flavored peeps, and we have Peep flavored Pepsi. Now, Bogues, you found Peeps flavored Pepsi. Where did you score this one?
Around the corner, thankfully, but I've seen it basically everywhere the last, 2 weeks or so. And you have a 20-ounce bottle. The cans are full, bright, neon yellow in sleeves of yellow cardboard, so you can't miss them in supermarkets.
I wonder if are Peeps now in on their own joke that everybody knows how disgusting they are, so they're just going to kind of lean into it by creating even more disgusting flavors?
Oh, I disagree, because there is like a Peep culture of people that love them and like they need them in Easter baskets and everything. So I think they're doing what all these sweet companies do now and just make crazy flavors. Oreos, M&Ms, they all do it.
Okay. All right. Well, Pete, why don't we cue the music here and do a little taste test? All right, guys. I think we'll start with a bite of one of the Peeps and then move into sipping the soda to cleanse the palate and then go in with the other flavored Peep. What do you think?
Okay, that sounds good. Which Peep are we working with left to right on the radio, though?
Why don't we start with the Dr. Pepper Peep, okay? Let's start with the Dr. Pepper Peep. These are decorated like Dr. Pepper color. It's kind of a maroon colored tinted Peep.
It's like a Peep in a Washington Commander uniform.
Yes, Washington Commanders Peep.
And I smell the Dr. Pepper flavoring, spices.
Yep. Let's take a bite here.
All right.
Not bad.
I don't want another one, but it definitely tastes like Dr. Pepper.
It's the lightest hint of Dr. Pepper you could have as part of this marshmallowy whatever this thing is.
So I don't like, we've all made this clear, none of us like Peeps. So by that being the floor basis, that's the best Peep I've ever tasted.
That's the best Peep you've ever had.
Doesn't mean it's like a great food, but yeah.
If there was a Peep to eat, that would be the one.
Okay, Brad?
I would agree.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right.
Because we've had things that say, hey, we taste like this, and then you taste them, potato chips, other candy. Like, I don't really taste that. This might be the best representation of the advertised flavor we've had.
Wow. How about this? Everybody, it's a win. Yeah, to me, I mean, I hate Peeps with a passion. So the fact that this is even pseudo-edible is a win for me. Okay, why don't we sip the Peep-flavored Pepsi. Cheers to everybody. This is a palate cleanser.
Oh, the smell, though, DA. The smell is so strong. It's like a cleaning agent.
Yeah, Brad said it smelled like ammonia.
I washed the floor with this last night.
It tastes like it as well.
It tastes like Pepsi to me.
No, it's Pepsi with a worse burn.
Oh.
It's a bad Pepsi.
I'll pass.
It's an old bad Pepsi.
It's bad Pepsi with vanilla.
Yeah, there's a little hint of vanilla in there. You're
That's
right.
not good at all.
Did
You're
we get
right.
a bad vintage, a bad bottle? Is the cork
Yeah,
out?
what year is it? What year is it?
It says 2023 limited edition. So this is right off the vineyards.
If that was the best peep I've ever tasted, this is the worst Pepsi I've ever tasted.
I mean, I don't taste anything that's like
It's
I thought it was gonna be like a
aftertaste.
sugar bomb, but it doesn't taste extra sweet to me or anything. It just tastes like warm Pepsi. I get almost no extra anything out of this.
Honestly, you're a fat slob if you're drinking that with a sandwich for lunch today.
Yeah, this is really reprehensible. Brad, where do you stand on this?
I think you could clean your bathroom tiles with this if you wanted to. I really do.
Okay, so we're 1 for 2 here. We all like the Dr. Pepper Peep. We all hated the Pepsi Peep flavored. Okay, finally, birthday cake Peep, everybody.
All right.
Now, this is kind of looks like a funfetti. It's kind of like a cream colored with sparkles in there, blue, green, little sparkles.
Can I say something before we taste it?
Please.
Because I'm somebody who loves funfetti and party cake stuff. Pay attention to everybody's individual peep. In my opinion, you want to go for the more sprinkled part of the peep, whether that be the head or the foot, depending on your peep.
Oh.
Because I think that will factor into your taste on this.
Okay.
The underbelly of my Peep has the most sparkle. It
Then
does,
I would-
and it smells of birthday cake too, by the way.
It is the most pungent of anything that we've tasted. This smells the most like the flavor.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I mean, I'm so in on this.
Oh, I hate this.
Yeah, no thanks. It's just this is a bad Peep.
Ugh.
I love this.
If the first one was a good Peep, this is a bad Peep.
Second
no,
bite
thanks.
for me.
Oh, it's kind of like...
Oh, it gets worse.
Oh, it gets so much
I gotta have
worse.
more Pepsi.
Oh! 5 seconds after you eat it, it comes in a wave.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's like a weird cake batter. It's like if you got a really awful flavor at Cold Stone and like the cake batter wave comes through. It's weird and sweet, but also a little sour.
No, thank you.
I wanna be in lockstep with you guys, but I borderline love this, and I'm starting to question whether I'm back in on Peeps.
Brad?
It's like funfetti icing if you left it out in the sun is what I'm getting.
Which is not recommended.
No.
Oh, good.
Okay, so Mraz, out of Dr. Pepper Peep and cake batter Peep, which is your favorite?
Cake batter. In fact, I might ask my mommy to put some in my Easter basket this year.
Your mommy.
Yeah.
Mommy.
I might give them to my kids too. I have never been pro Peep, but you know what? I like them. I really do. Maybe I'm a sucker for the birthday cake flavor thing.
Well, you love funfetti anything.
Yeah, I do. And honestly,
Did you put your mic closer to your mouth?
I'm sorry. It's the texture of the Peep that usually gets me, but for some reason the funfetti is cutting the bad texture for me, and I think that's why I like it.
See, what's interesting is, for me, the birthday cake flavor does nothing to overwhelm the awfulness of the Peep.
Yeah.
The Dr. Pepper did.
Yes.
This one doesn't.
It exacerbates the problem with the
Yes.
Peep consistency.
Exactly. Yeah, this is bad. And by the way, Brad, since you're new, the sentence about mommy and Easter basket, all real. Golden mommy still gets an Easter basket. That's not a joke.
Still
That
makes
was
a
a
Christmas
real
list.
wish. Yeah.
That chocolate bunny every year does hit, though. Let's be honest. We all love the chocolate bunny.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Although I will say, I've had some solid chocolate bunnies, and if you assess it, you think you're getting more because it's solid chocolate. But I think I like the hollow ones better because you can manipulate it more. You can break
Agreed.
it apart. You can put it on some ice cream. You know, you can break a little piece off and have it. When you have the solid bunny, it's just hard. It's like a big block.
You're not wrong, and honestly, the hollowness, it's more fun in your mouth, if that makes sense.
The hollow one.
The hollow one. Like when you bite, when you bite into a hollow bunny, I don't know, when it kind of breaks down and it's like a collapsing of chocolate onto your tongue.
Yeah, you're kind of like Godzilla.
Yeah, there's no struggle with your tooth. Like, ooh, am I going to hurt my tooth with the solid ear you bite off? So the hollow one, I think I'm with you. It's a party in your mouth.
Yeah, and it's less stressful because if you want to just bite off an ear from a solid chocolate bunny, you got to worry about breaking your teeth.
Yeah, nobody wants a broken tooth this time of year right before summer. Who needs those dentist
What about
appointments?
a solid chocolate bunny if it's a Reese's bunny? Those bunnies are.
Why, are they thin?
They're the thick bunnies, but they have the inside is the peanut butter.
Oh.
Excellent.
I haven't had those.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, yeah. So in that case, you couldn't have a hollow bunny because then you wouldn't have the peanut butter.
That's right. Easy to mow one down.
Okay.
Mow one down.
Okay, that's your Peeps Taste Test. Standing by with our headlines, here is Andrew Bogish.
DA, we went from 2 tight games on Tuesday in Dayton to 2 blowouts last night. FDU put an 84-61 hurting on Texas Southern. Then Arizona State raced to a 27-point halftime lead on Nevada, winning 98-73. Everything worked for Bobby Hurley's team.
Across the board, just everyone contributed. Our defense was outstanding in the first half. Our bench was really good.
And now they get to play TCU tomorrow, while FDU gets Purdue. Mississippi State and Sacred Heart won on night 1 of the women's First Four. And in the NIT, Morehead State knocked out Clemson 68-64. Sam Houston topped Santa Clara 58-56. And Utah Valley with an 83-69 win at the Pit in New Mexico. Maryland, West Virginia is the 8-9 matchup in the South in Birmingham. That gets us rolling at 12:15 Eastern today. It was everything good about the World Baseball Classic. Great atmosphere in Miami as Puerto Rico fought off the DR 5-2 to reach the quarterfinals last night. But then Mets closer Edwin Diaz suffered a seemingly major right knee injury in the postgame on-field celebration. No rumors of the exact injury right now. The Mets say full imaging is coming today. Team USA held off Colombia, meanwhile, 3-2 in Phoenix to survive pool play. They'll face Venezuela in the quarters. And right now in Tokyo, Japan has taken a 7-2 lead on Italy in the bottom of the 6th in their quarterfinal. Ja Morant is now suspended 8 games for brandishing a gun in a Denver nightclub 2 Saturdays ago. He could play this Monday, but will not return then as he continues to deal with his off-court issues. Ja is no longer, though, in that counseling program in Florida. His Grizzlies had no chance last night in Miami.
Jimmy snaps it right to Love. Fires a 3. And he splashes a 3. 3 of 7 from downtown for Kevin. He's got 10. Timeout on the floor. Heat 91. Grizzlies 72.
That's Jason Jackson on Heat Radio. Miami cruising to a 138-119 win.
Cruise.
However, Kevin Love's night wasn't all good. Desmond Bane gave him a shot to the undercarriage while driving past him. Bane got a flagrant 2 and was ejected. The Sixers pushed their win streak to 6, 118-109 in Cleveland. The Lakers losing in Houston, 114-110 with Anthony Davis resting. The Celtics got a 104-102 win in Minnesota, and the Warriors lost to the Clippers, 134-126, despite 50 points from Steph Curry. And now we get stoned.
Woo!
It doesn't take much to surprise this bouncing baby boy.
This is honestly the most stunned I have ever been on the show to a news.
The DA show is stunned to a news.
I guess a little good news, bad news.
Okay.
Coming out of Berlin, a woman petitioned to be allowed to go to public pools topless since men don't have to wear shirts when they swim in said public
Fair
pools.
point.
And eventually, she got herself a win.
Wow.
And now in Berlin, you don't need, male or female or whatever, to wear a shirt when you swim.
Wow, Bob's Bar Show is going to move to Berlin next summer.
But I think, so good news, equality, fine. Bad news is probably we should go to everybody wears a shirt rule, because I feel like most people don't necessarily look that great without a shirt.
No,
like you'd think this becomes like some weird Jack Stern dream sequence, but really most people should be covered up, male or female.
No.
Let's go, Jets.
No.
Let's go, shirts.
You're going to go out to Ireland. Well, maybe that's a bad example.
Yeah,
you
a lot
go
of potatoes.
You go out to Europe, you don't mind seeing... They're not as fat as us, let's face it. They're actually in shape. They're good-looking people.
I mean, fat people do exist there.
Yeah, there's some, but they ain't as fat as us.
They don't eat peeps.
Not wrong. Brad's not wrong.
I mean, and true,
Have more
Berlin,
pride.
Germany is not quite, the coast of the Mediterranean. There's a lot of schnitzel there.
French
There's a lot
Riviera.
of pretzels and beer.
Sure.
But believe you me, go walk around Berlin and tell me that it looks like, Sioux Falls. It doesn't.
I will tell you, when we got wind of our nude beach on my local area, me and my buddies couldn't wait to go as teenagers. Not that we were going to party. We wanted to walk past, get a glimpse of what's going on. You have never seen 4 more disappointed boys in their life. A lot of, 400-pound men, the type of women you don't want to see. So to Bogus's point, that it can be alarming.
It can backfire on you because sometimes the people that want to go topless or nude are the people that shouldn't be topless or nude.
Yeah, they feel like that's their free card.
But I would hope that in Berlin, if there's the availability to you don't have to go topless, but if you want to, you can. I would hope there is some type of like, oh, she's topless. She looks good topless. Maybe I don't need to be topless if I'm 270.
You think shaming? I could tell you, as somebody who's been to these water parks, there is no shame for people. They don't care.
Again, I want to say I think Metro Berlin is a lot different than Great Wolf Lodge. Okay,
Bush Splash.
Maybe in raw numbers, but I do think we all have sometimes the incorrect view of what looks good and what doesn't, and people do seem to make bad choices. So there might be fewer people, but they're still making the same bad choices of bikinis and Speedos and topless.
But here's the thing. How can you tell fat guys they're allowed to look fat, but not fat women?
Well, that's my point. Everyone, let's go full shirt rule.
But then what about skinny people? They should have to wear a shirt?
Yeah.
Why should you have to wear a shirt?
Well, I should have a shirt on. I'm in that. I'm putting myself in that list.
You have a tuxedo on.
I think the solution is everybody should just be able to go shirtless. I'm actually with DA. The problem is you need that buyer beware signs outside of these places.
And that's fair. You're going to get a few heifers, I'm sure.
Just, I would put the thing, nude beach here, nude pool here. Beware, not everybody looks great.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
The toxic sign up.
But Pat Boyle shouldn't be punished by having to wear a shirt at the beach.
No, I agree, but I shouldn't have. This is the sense of entitlement. Then I shouldn't have to feel bad if you have to see my moobs bouncing around like I'm on Baywatch.
So I wonder if this will be applied to all Berlin public pools and beaches. I don't know if there's
it's
beaches
public
in Berlin.
pools, and there's no official start date yet. And maybe there's higher courts. If you wanted to fight this, you could. But Berlin pools, public pools, at some point.
Now you want NFL
topless.
Europe. Now,
I'm in.
Fire.
Now you want the Giants to play the Berlin Commandos.
Please. No, give me giant Seahawks in Germany in a couple years. I'm there.
Right.
The problem also, though, is, too, you can't be doing pool days with your siblings and everything else. Nobody needs to see relatives nude, I can't be like, mom asking me to go to the pool. No, thanks.
Imagine someone fighting this to a higher court. just seeing that case.
We have taken Brad Spielberger hostage from Pro Football Focus. He came in to talk about the numbers around free agency, the salary cap. We forced him to eat terrible candy, awful soda, and sit through a nude beach story. So nice job surviving that.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice knowing you. See you never.
Yeah,
Brad earned his ticket back.
I've been to Munich, so not Berlin. I don't know if it's the same for Munich. Walked through a park. We also were excited, 18 years old, and left very underwhelmed.
Whoa!
Yeah.
All right, so Brad's on your train here. This sounds better in writing than it is in reality.
Yes, imagination versus reality, different things. Yeah.
Kind of like the Russell Wilson contract.
Very much so like the Russell Wilson contract, yes. There, it ties it all together there, yeah.
Brad Spielberger. Follow him on Twitter at Brad_PFF.
PFF_Brad.
At PFF_Brad. Thanks very much. That was awesome. When we come back, I have a conversation about the Hall of Fame I want to have. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
So you have to give Bellotti his due here because he wants to defend the honor of the Hanks family. He thinks that he can probably outspit the rhymes of Rita Wilson. Let's hear Pete the Body's take on Hip Hop Hooray.
Hip Hop Hooray! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! You drew a picture of my morning, but you couldn't make my day. I'm rocking and you're yawning and you never look my way. I'm licking down your darling in every single way. Your funny flow is boring and the quick car's on the way. This ain't got to do with shampoo, but watch your head and shoulder. Brother old enough to bold ya, so I told ya, yo I fold ya. Arrayed, afraid of what I made, I played it, plus a funky foot, so save your flips and the tricks for that music and the monkey bit. Triggers from the grill town, ill town, so ask how it feels now. The deal is real and that we're still around. Don't light the lamp with the freestyle phantom, ain't trying to be handsome, sugar what you're thinking, cause I'm vamping. I live to die for hip-hop, this is hip-hop today. I give props for hip-hop, so hip-hop, hooray! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Thank you.
Let's bring in Miraz here for the official break.
ho, hey, ho, hey, ho. Thank you.
Oh, it was so terrible, yet better than I expected at the same time.
You know, I agree with that. That actually was better than I expected out of Pete the Body Bilotti. There was at least moments, brief moments of flow there.
Yeah, I mean, he was able to rap a little bit, but at the same time, Pete, it's a rap. You're not just talking. I mean, my goodness.
Oh, it was excellent. I needed that laugh in the morning. Very good. The Green 8 Mile. The Hankses versus Pete the Body.
Hip hop, hooray! Ho, hey, ho, hey, ho, hey, ho. You drew a picture of my morning, but you couldn't make my day. I'm rocking and yawning and you never look my way. I'm licking down your darling in every single way. Your funny flow is boring and the car's on the way. This ain't got to do with shampoo, but watch your head and shoulder. Brother old enough to fold ya, so I told ya, yo, I fold ya. Arrayed, afraid of what I made, I played it, plus a funky foot, so save your flips and the tricks for that music and the monkey pit. Triggers from the Grill Town, Ill Town, so ask how it feels now. The deal is real and that we're still around. Don't light the lamp with the freestyle phantom, ain't trying to be handsome. Sugar what you're thinking, cause I'm vamping. I live to die for hip hop, this is hip hop today. I give props for hip hop, so hip hop, hooray! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho! Hey! Ho!
One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
It's new on CBS. We've got it all together.
It's the DA Show on CBS Sports Radio.
All right, welcome back. DA with you here on CBS Sports Radio. A little reminder that the DA Show and its ARM programming always available in podcast form. Want to hear the show, full 4 hours, or the best of the show? Available every single day in podcast form. Just search the DA Show. Our permission-granted podcast is the podcast about the radio show. That's always available. And Mraz has his One Giant Step for Giants fans, and I've launched New York Accent, a deep dive behind the scenes for some never-before-told stories of some former New York athletes that have had some great successes and maybe some low times as well. And this week I debuted episode 2. I dropped episode 2, which was with Otis Anderson, Super Bowl 25 MVP. And O.J. Anderson had such an interesting career, and you know me, I love the history of the game, especially in the NFL. And I think a lot of people don't realize how great he was. And it was a really powerful moment at the end of the interview. He had gone over his career. He was a dynamite running back in college at the University of Miami before the Hurricanes were a dynasty. This was back in the 70s. And then he goes to the St. Louis Cardinals as Rookie of the Year, makes multiple Pro Bowls, multiple 1,000-yard seasons, and then ends up with the Giants at the tail end of his career and has a renaissance 89 and 90, where he rushes for 1,000 yards in 89, and then in 90 ends up being the Super Bowl MVP. And for as great of a career as he has had, it really hurts him that he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, that he has seen so many of his contemporaries inducted into Canton, and he's not there. And he really believes in his heart of hearts that he is worthy of a Canton nod. Here was a quote from the interview that I had with OJ that really made me pause, and it really grabbed me because it was a very poignant and powerful moment for a man that looks back at his career and says, am I being properly recognized?
I went there to see Harry get inducted. I think I saw Lawrence get inducted. And I made a promise to myself that I would not go back again until it was my time. I have not been back. And I kind of, I just said I won't go back until it's my time. So maybe, why I am above ground. People want to give you roses when you pass. I'm one of those players, like, give me my roses while I'm above ground. Give me my credibility while I'm of sound mind and body, can enjoy it with my family and friends. I don't want to be one of those players that they say, man, you know what? Had he been alive, he would really appreciate this. I want to enjoy that. I want to be one of those players that enjoy it. I don't know how long we all got on this earth. Guys my age are falling all the time. Guys a little ahead of me going, you just don't know when. And everybody want to give you flowers when you're gone, but give me my flowers while I'm above ground. And Hall of Fame, give me my nominee while I'm above ground and can appreciate it. That's all I ask for.
So he's thinking about his own mortality there, 66 years old, and his mind is still sharp. I mean, we were kind of joking about it on the podcast. He was reciting to me the rosters of his teammates from almost every team he was ever on. I mean, he listed every guy from his college teams, from his early pro teams. He gave me the schedule to a team, to a week of his freshman season at Miami. He is absolutely sharp. But you get to your mid-60s, you see 70 coming up in a few years, and you see guys around you that lose their mental faculties or really are hard up physically, and maybe some unfortunately do pass away. And you start thinking about, if I'm ever going to get into the Hall of Fame, please don't do it when I'm not here anymore. And you start looking at the numbers, and I don't think a lot of people think off the top of their head, Otis Anderson, Pro Football Hall of Famer. But when he retired, he was the 8th all-time leading rusher. Only 7 players ever when he was retired had rushed for more yards than him. He hit the mythical 10,000 yards. Currently, because there's some guys that passed him since he retired in the early 90s, he is 30th all-time in rushing yards. But there's a number of players that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that have fewer yards than him. Jim Taylor has 1,500 yards fewer. Actually, more than that, 1,700 yards. He was part of the famed Packers Lombardi's days. Also, Larry Zonka, who was part of those 1970s Dolphins teams in the Hall of Fame. Earl Campbell didn't rush for as many yards as Otis Anderson did. And those are some contemporaries of his, 70s, 80s. Also, from a touchdown standpoint, he is still 19th all-time in touchdowns scored. He scored more touchdowns than Hall of Famers like Edgerrin James, Tony Dorsett, Earl Campbell, Leroy Kelly. He scored a lot of touchdowns and ran for a lot of yards. I think the issue is, I cite, he's never been to an all-decade team, never named to an all-decade team. That's a big thing, and only 2 Pro Bowls. So that was where he kind of got jammed up. 2 early Pro Bowls, first 2 seasons, that didn't get back there for the rest of his career. But when you stack up the numbers, I mean, he's one of the great backs of that era, no doubt, and I wonder if he'll get in, and I thought that was a pretty powerful moment from OJ. If you want to check out the full conversation that I had with him, I think it's really fun, even if you're not a Giants fan, if you're a football fan, specifically if you love football history or you love football the 70s and 80s and 90s, you'll like it. Check out my podcast, New York Accent. Every place the podcasts are available. Subscribe. And send us a rate and review, and that helps other people find it as well, and I appreciate it. I'm listening to Ion Football, and they're going out to Cleveland, and the Browns have built an early lead, and I'm like, listen to Zach really get into it. He gets throaty with it, too.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
It's not just a normal Zach Gelb voice. It's, here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Woof, woof.
You know, he's really like, he's almost playing the dog pound character with the dog mask. Here we go, Brownies.
Woof, woof.
Here we go, Brownies.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
Here we go.
He's got to give you more than the woof, woof. There's too much in the here we go.
True.
I need a more emphatic woof, woof.
Yeah. His here,
woof.
His here we go, Brownies is an easy 9 or 10 out of 10. His woof, woof's more like a 2 or a 3.
Yeah, I agree.
He doesn't really commit to the woof, woof.
Well, and also he's almost like he's trying to pronounce the word woof instead of giving you a woof.
Oh, good one.
That's,
woof, woof.
You see what I mean? It's woof, woof. You got to go woof, woof.
Right. Bark like a dog. Don't actually read the word W-O-O-F.
Woof.
Woof, woof.
Woof, woof.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
It's like he's reading a kid's book. Oh, it's good. Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Oh, oh.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
He also does like a nasally thing there with Brownies. Brownies. Here we go, Brownies.
Brownies, here we go. Woof, woof.
You're right. He starts with the brownies. Like, he lays off, right? He gets nasally.
Like, he's totally pot committed on Here We Go, Brownies. He's really into it. It's like he's at the stadium. And then he kind of pulls the ripcord on Woof, Woof, and he's like, maybe I'm being unprofessional.
He would fail an audition from a television director or producer there. They would get fired up at the beginning and go, you didn't have it. You couldn't sell it at the end.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go. Woof, woof.
He's reading the woof, woof. It's got to be a oh, oh.
See, this is what happens when Matt Rule sucks.
Woof, woof.
Gelb's got to adopt the Browns. Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T-S. Jets. Jets. Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
Is Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
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 Thank you, Jack.
J-E-T-S. Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Fireman Ed just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up.
Let's go, Jets.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
It's so sucky
Gary
when it's
Wilson
delicious.
gonna catch the passes. Stop me up.
Kai Horton.
.45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Good morning.
Morning, DA. How are you?
CBS Sports Radio. Hey, what's up, DA? Permission to enter the mothership, brother.
Ever heard a sports talk show like this before? Didn't think so.
What's going on, Dirty?
It's DA on CBS Sports Radio.
DA, how you feeling, brother?
Man, I'm feeling great.
I'm doing great.
Happy Thursday, boys and girls. One question only. How do you feel?
I feel good, and I'm doing well.
Well, that's all that really matters. And we appreciate you being with us. Coming up in 20 minutes, it's a Thirsty Thursday. We're toasting to the good stuff. What a show it has been today. We've taste tested disgusting peeps, including peep-flavored Pepsi. We've also had the bagpipes in here, the melodic tunes of Foxy to ring in March Madness. On top of it, we've announced the Bob's Bar date, which is June the 16th, 3 months from today, Friday going into Father's Day weekend. We've broken down the NFL salary cap. We've also danced like Mick Jagger as part of the Rolling Stones. We have done it all this morning, Mraz.
This show feels like it's been a week long in a good way. In a good way.
It does. Sometimes we do a show and you turn around and you're like, it's already 9 o'clock. We're already 3 hours through. Today is like, man, it's only 9 o'clock.
100%. The Jack Stern Rolling Stones honestly feels like Tuesday.
Hour one, if you want to dial back and listen to Insanity, listen to Soundcheck, specifically the third clip of Soundcheck from hour number one. It's the second segment of hour number one. It could be a 12 days of Christmas, and if nothing else, it's the best cardio I've ever gotten on the show.
I got a candidate for the 12 DAs, okay?
And that will be your epic fail.
So a few notes on Aaron Rodgers before we get to some Final Four picks, okay? Aaron Rodgers has every right to announce whatever he wants to announce, however he wants to announce it. Part of the beauty of social media and today's media in general, the landscape, is that everybody is empowered. And that could be a really good thing. I think about myself as a young wannabe broadcaster back in the 90s in high school. The only way I was going to have a microphone in front of my face was if I got employed by a radio station or a television station. There was no YouTube. There was no podcasts. There was no Instagram Live. There was no social media. There was no internet. It was the infancy of all of that. Today, I talk to college broadcasters or high school broadcasters or even young broadcasters in the industry. And I marvel at the fact that they can be their own hubs of information. All you got to do is go online on Amazon, buy a microphone that plugs into your laptop, get a recording device, some type of program on your laptop, and suddenly you can be a broadcaster and push out your content. It's a pretty empowering, liberating thing for people that want to have a voice. Now, not everybody uses that voice properly. There's a lot of ugliness out there, but Rodgers wanting to go on Pat McAfee's show yesterday to circumvent the traditional media because he doesn't like Schefter, doesn't like Ian Rappaport, bristles at the notion that anybody would have inside information to him. So he's going to go to a friendly face, a friend of his. Hey, you are allowed to do whatever it is that you want to do. Have a YouTube channel, hold your own press conferences, do your own podcast, go on your friend's show. Fine. But Rodgers, with all of this, as always, exists in a pool of hypocrisy. And it's always a manipulation of his own truth as he tries to tell you why you're wrong and he's right. In this case, very early with McAfee, he goes into the soliloquy of why he's getting pushed out of Green Bay. And it is somewhat enlightening. But in it says, basically, I wish they could just be upfront with me. I like clarity. I like direct communication is what Aaron Rodgers said. Now, you can be the biggest Aaron Rodgers stan ever. Is Aaron Rodgers a beacon of direct communication? I mean, come on. Like, if anybody uses vagaries to draw attention and is indirect and speaks in code, it would be Aaron Rodgers, right? So, first off, he starts with like, I wish things would be a little bit more clear. Okay. Secondly, he wants you to know this is not an announcement. I didn't come on this radio show to make an announcement. I made my decision Friday. Well, if this is the first anybody's learning of it, it kind of is an announcement. It's kind of the definition of it. Yes, the Jets might be well aware of that decision. The Packers are well aware of that decision. It is hung up through trade compensation, not Aaron Rodgers' fault. But if you haven't told the public that you're going to become a Jet, saying it for the first time is an announcement. That does qualify as that, but okay. Rodgers also says nothing but gratitude. Nothing but gratitude, nothing but, he says this multiple times. I've got an open heart. I'm so grateful for my time in Green Bay. Great. But then also says, when I heard they wanted to trade me, suddenly I wanted to play again. So it's not just gratitude. It is, I'll show you you're wrong. That's the whole reason he's saying he got motivated again to come back. He said he was 90% retired when he went into the darkness cave. Came out, checked his phone, saw that the Packers were trying to trade him, and said basically, he didn't say this, but all right, now it's on. Now I want to play again. So, again, certainly a manipulation of the framing of how this all went down. And then lastly, I have to laugh at Rodgers because, well, I think he is attempting to walk through a life of enlightenment, which I totally appreciate. I really appreciate that he is trying to find an illumination within himself, outside, by reading, by talking, by being inquisitive and curious and thinking outside the box. Hey, I can really appreciate all of that. He goes into the darkness cave because what he wants to do is find complete solitude to meditate and find internally what motivates him and what will make him happy, which is a really noble cause. I mean, you know, put down your phone for 5 days. That is no joke. He went into a cave for 4 nights and parts of 5 days. Now think about this. And the way that he described it was you get 1 meal a day at 6 o'clock. I mean, I think I would go crazy if I didn't get a breakfast and a lunch and had to wait until 6 o'clock to eat something.
A little hangry.
But you're sitting in a lockbox, basically, and you're staring into the darkness, and you are left with nothing but your own thoughts. And I guess you could sleep for most of the day, which is probably what I would do to catch up. But I mean, yeah, that's a pretty daunting responsibility to go into a darkness for 4 days, 4 nights, and just be left with your own mind. Hey, that can be really scary. So I appreciate that he attempted this. But in doing so, he said he kind of found solace. 90% he was retired. So he had found this kind of peace within himself of his career and what he'd accomplished. And then he admits he comes out, checks his phone when he gets to one bar. He said where he was, there was no cell phone service. So he gets back to wherever the main town is or whatever, has one bar, and then sees his emails and texts and realizes the Packers are shopping him, but then suddenly game on. So that's not an internal motivation. That's actually an external motivation. Exactly what you were trying to avoid. That the idea that somebody else could place something on you was what you're trying to shed. That you're not living within what projections or expectations are. You're only within your own peace. But here he is admitting he didn't really want to play football anymore until he found out somebody didn't believe in him. And now it's on. So you went from seeking internal purpose to then using external motivation. By projection. I have to prove somebody wrong. This is what I'm talking about. That I just find Rodgers to be filled with hypocrisy. Just everything he almost says and does. Now, ultimately, what does it matter? It's like, DA, stop being, shrink on the couch and let's just talk about football. Okay, let's do that part. Ultimately, this is going to get done because the Packers don't want him and the Jets want him. So he's going to become a New York Jet. Aaron Rodgers may use this to get back to really great Aaron Rodgers. He may. I can't deny that. And if he gets back and clicks back into great Aaron Rodgers, look out. Because great Aaron Rodgers is the guy that can be a 2-time MVP back-to-back years, 2020, 2021 recently, leads you to a great record, a home playoff game, etc., and you're in every game because Aaron Rodgers can be absolutely splendid when he is on it. No doubt about it. And the Jets have a good defense, maybe a great one. They have 2 good young wide receivers, and now Allen Lazard, who is obviously a favorite of Rodgers. And the Jets, at the very least, are improved. There's no doubt that Rodgers, certainly motivated Rodgers, is way better than Mike White and or Zach Wilson. And motivated Aaron Rodgers is way better than Jimmy Garoppolo and or Derek Carr. I still believe that this ends poorly because I don't trust Aaron Rodgers to the very end, nor do I trust things working out well for the Jets. I mean, Jets fans have been tortured into all these grand proclamations, hopes, and dreams, and this one feels like the next that crashes and burns. But at the end of the day, I understand Jets fans wanted to see this, the Jets wanted to see this, and I applaud the Jets for getting it done. I have to admit there's a sinking feeling within me about how this ends because Aaron Rodgers a week ago is 90% retired, or let's just say 2 weeks ago when he ends that darkness retreat. Is the fuel to prove the Packers wrong, the fuel to get you minicamp, OTAs, training camp, off-season workouts, preseason, week 1, week 2, week 3, week 10, week 12, week 18. Then playoffs. You have to have your own fuel. And is Rodgers fueled enough to do all of the things it takes to lift a franchise that hasn't won anything in a long time to the level that's expected? Because let's face it, if the Jets go to the wild card round and lose to the Chiefs, it's not a success getting Aaron Rodgers there. If the Jets are 10-7 and are the first team out of the AFC playoffs, it's not a success. This is a success if the Jets get to the AFC Championship game or beyond. It can't be win a playoff game. Is whatever fuels Rodgers today going to be there in January? Whatever fuels him today, is he going to be there when the Jets have lost 3 games in a row and they're coming up against a game in Miami or a game in Buffalo or a game in New England? And is the stuff that can sink in, the negativity in New York, the negativity from a Jets fan base that has seen a lot of bad stuff, is he right to navigate that? Is he mentally right to navigate all of that? Because I always worry that Rodgers does what Rodgers wants. And the moment he doesn't want to do it, screw you, I'm not doing it. Because kind of what he admitted with McAfee yesterday was 90% retired, things had gotten easy for him. He had won the battle in Green Bay. He had proved the Packers wrong in drafting Jordan Love. That's what he said. Basically, they drafted my replacement, and then I went to win 2 MVPs. So he wanted to prove his own employers wrong. And then by last year, he kind of admitted, like, I had proven that. And I was kind of done. So now he got another motivation. You know, this is going to be hard. This is going to be really hard. It's a freaking hard division. It's a pretty hard town. It's a franchise that hasn't had a lot of winning. It's a brutal AFC in general. This is going to be hard. Is Rodgers in this for the hard? That's the problem that I worry about with him. We'll see. It's the greatest story now in the NFL, and what's amazing about the NFL is now franchise and future Hall of Fame QBs change destinations every offseason. I mean, we've had Tom Brady change locales, Russell Wilson change locales, Matthew Stafford change locales. We've had Deshaun Watson change locales. Now we have Aaron Rodgers change locales. It's amazing. I mean, perennial Pro Bowl guys and future Hall of Famers in some cases are just going wherever they want to go. It's astonishing, this offseason maneuvering. But it is undeniably compelling. Undeniably compelling. And for the Edwin Diaz injury, Pete, where life taketh, life giveth you the Aaron Rodgers that you wanted.
Can't have a full 24 hours of pure happiness.
No, but you feel good about this.
I do. I think the chip on his shoulder is a little more pronounced than people think. I think there's a difference between Aaron Rodgers and people brought up Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I think Aaron Rodgers, when he gets on the field, it's a totally different demeanor than those guys. I think a lot of that stuff is left in the locker room. You don't see much in terms of the drama on the field. I just think he's a very different type of person, and it's you're not gonna be able to figure it out. I think a lot of people are having that issue, but for me, I saw Zach Wilson play. I keep going back to that. I saw Zach Wilson play last season, and this is a team that has the pieces that can compete and get very far in the NFL playoffs with a quarterback. This is their chance.
Mraz, and that's totally fair. I totally get all of that. Where do you stand on this?
Well, with Rodgers, I just think that if you're already 90% retired, DA, going into this darkness retreat, as you hit on, to me, I thought the whole appeal of getting Rodgers was saying, hey, we could have 2, maybe 3 years where this core can go win a Super Bowl. How, and I haven't seen this anywhere. I think nobody's talking about this because they're so, exasperated. Wrong word again, whatever. They're so in love with the idea of Rodgers coming to the Jets. Enamored. Does anybody convinced he's playing beyond this 1 year? I mean, he just talked about how he specifically had to grab Randall Cobb and walk off. He said this yesterday, walk off into that tunnel because he thought that was it. He was retiring on the field. Then he continued, 90% retiring. So if the Jets are going to acquire him and they're still working out, what pieces they have to give up, are you just putting a 1-year pause on building this core? And then what's the answer at quarterback beyond that? So this is, again, why I thought they should have been on Derek Carr, but I get that ship has sailed, and they put themselves in a spot where now they have to do it because there's no other answer. But it kind of feels like you're going for broke in many ways for 1 year, and this is a team that has 0 playoff experience to even have that bump of experience, a playoff loss. How do you know Rodgers is playing past this year? Don't you have to know that if you're making this move?
Well, the one counter I'll make to that is our friend and colleague Tiki Barber, is that last season he was... You could tell the mindset was retirement, and he had stated that he was retiring. He had his best season he ever had. So I think it could be a motivator, and I think with him it'll be very much a motivator because of the problems he had with the Packers on the way out.
Could be. But this AFC is brutal.
And that's it. It could be a motivator, and he could be great, and he could be an MVP candidate. He could do all of those things. But the truth is, you're supposed to be doing all those things with this young core because you're going to be building towards something. If it's your only shot as he goes out and, flames like he's done in all these playoff games, then again, what happens? What is your answer? Drafting another quarterback next year and then eventually having to pay all these guys? Like, to me, this is, in many ways, going for broke for 1 year and pausing what you're building, which was supposed to be a good core where you wanted a bigger window.
Right. But, I mean, if Zach Wilson's still in play, I guess getting 1 or 2 years of Rodgers, look, I would never trust Zach Wilson with the job again.
But how is that going to line up? You're going to have to make a decision on his contract basically after this year, too.
True. I think that this is really dangerous. And, I understand why the Jets wanted to go down the road. They want to be relevant. They want to be winners. But with Aaron Rodgers, the Jets still aren't a top 3 team in the AFC. And they're still not the best team in their own division. Now, there's been some free agent defections for Buffalo, but the Bills are really good, the Dolphins are really good, and then it's the Jets. Clearly, the Bengals are really good, the Chiefs are elite. You could argue that they're the 5th best team in their own conference right now and the 3rd best team in their own division. Does it mean that Rodgers has to win 2 road playoff games against elite competition just to get to an AFC championship game, in which case it would be rendered a success? That's a lot to do.
Yeah, I don't think this is where I'll separate. I don't think you absolutely gift the Bills the division because, look, anything could happen, and they've been pounding on the door. Maybe they have a little bit of a letdown, so maybe he gets home games. But let's face it, they're more in the class of the Chargers and Jaguars in the AFC, and are we even convinced they're better than those 2 teams?
But let's keep in mind, too, we can look ahead to 2-3 years from now. If they don't make the playoffs and get far this year, you could make a case that Saleh and Douglas are gone. So they're going to take a chance with Aaron Rodgers than take a chance with whomever at quarterback. So I would take the chance with Rodgers.
Big risk, big reward. If they go big and they make the playoffs and win a couple of playoffs games, then a lot of stuff is good in Jetland. And if it implodes, then as you said, there's a lot of jobs on the line. When we come back here on the show, we'll give you our final 4 picks and our Thirsty Thursday toasts. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
All right, Beat the Body Bilotti, who are you trashing?
I am trashing a good friend of this program.
Okay.
Mr. Bart Scott.
Oh.
I am trashing Bart Scott.
About to get real.
Bart did not attend my wedding.
Correct.
He got all mixed up with his charity, which can happen. Mix up
Is that what he told you?
Mixed up with the days. But the thing I'm trashing him on is instead of apologizing to me at first, he apologized to me eventually. He goes and he apologizes to Robbie Rosenhaus. That's me.
Bart thought that Huge Freeze was you.
Which is ridiculous.
Or is it?
I am not Lou Ferrigno, but I am not an obese man. So
not Lou Ferrigno.
The incredible Hulk.
I have had it.
It's your reference point?
With that comparison, just because we're bald. He's taller and more rotund, and I'm shorter and a little less rotund.
You've been trashed.
I'm no Lou Ferrigno.
I mean, really?
Oh, my God, that's great. So, number one, Bilotti's reference point for a handsome man is a bodybuilder from the 70s.
Yeah.
And number 2.
She's no Mary Lou Retton, but...
and think about this, everybody. Bart Scott said he was going to attend the Bilotti wedding, Holly Jolly Bilotti. Ended up not attending it. There was a spot at our table for Bart Scott and his wife. Bart was not there. Bart comes in after that. Of course, Pete is out for like 2 weeks after the wedding, so he's not even around the office. Huge Freeze is in. Bart goes up to Huge Freeze and says, "Hey, man, sorry for missing your wedding."
That's totally ridiculous.
Maybe if he thinks Huge Freeze is him, he should have got the invite in the first place, Pete. Lacking friends on that list.
He insisted.
Yeah.
So,
Because he likes Robbie.
Bart didn't even know what wedding he was invited to.
He didn't know which one he was skipping.
And I gave him the invitation right in the newsroom because he lost the first one.
I'm surprised he didn't come to my wedding and congratulate Brad Heller on getting married.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
We're toasting to the good life.
I feel alive.
We are feeling good and doing well.
How many beers ago? Probably 1,000.
It's the DA Show's Thirsty Thursday.
Celebrating with some booskies.
All right, Mraz, who you toasting to?
DA, I'm toasting the World Baseball Classic. Honestly, I didn't think the World Baseball Classic. I didn't think I'd be into the event, and I haven't watched every game, but honestly, the pageantry, everything about it has been awesome, and you could see how much the players really care about it. They enjoy it. I mean, even the celebrations after some of these wins. Honestly, as baseball season approaches, it has just been this beautiful, beautiful tournament and really just like a uniting of cultures. So I personally love it. I can't get enough of it. I'm looking forward to the professionals continue to participate in it. And you heard, I mean, there was the closer on the Puerto Rico team said this was just like Game 7 of the World Series being in the Dominican Republic. So when those guys care that much, how do you not get behind a sporting event like that? Great time of year. I'm toasting the WBC.
Booskies.
Booskies.
Mraz purposefully trolling Pete the Body. Bogus, yours truly today after Edwin Diaz.
That's a good event.
Tears his knee in the celebration last night for Puerto Rico.
DA, I'm going to toast whatever malady, disease, rot that ever finally gives Sean his comeuppance one day. Maybe it's next week, maybe it's next month, maybe it's next decade, maybe Pete and I are not here to actually see it.
Maybe it's in an hour.
But I can only believe that some part of this universe, some tiny part of this universe, is just biding its time, waiting for the right moment. The hole in the backyard didn't work, so we're on plan B now. But at some point, the only thing to get, the only way to get through this,
he'll get it,
is that he'll get it.
He'll get it,
and he'll get it good. And hopefully we'll be there to really toast that moment.
Booskies to Mraz's comeuppance. Pete the Body Bilotti, who you toasting to?
Well, first I'm toasting to the WBC because no one event has made me want to drink a whole bottle of Kettle One in a weekend more than the WBC, so booskies to that.
Booskies.
I'm also toasting to our PEEP demonstration today, which is going to keep me up until Saturday with all the sugar I consumed.
Booskies.
And I'm also going to toast Mraz because he's going to be the motivation when the Mets win the World Series. So booskies to that.
Booskies.
I am toasting to my mother-in-law. She came to visit a couple of days ago, and she goes, Damon, I know you like leftovers.
Oh, piggy pig.
She goes, I made some meatballs. Do you want them? I said, yes, ma'am. And my mother-in-law is a very, very good cook. She drops me off this glass or this porcelain container or so. And it's covered and it's all opaque, so I can't see in it. And I'm like, oh, that's amazing. Thanks so much. So I pop it open the other night, getting ready for make some leftovers. Filled to the brim of full, huge Italian homemade meatballs.
Oh.
Red sauce spilling over. And I like audibly yelped. And the Bourbon Bell laughed. Like, wow, you're that excited. I'm like, oh, look at how many meatballs are in here.
You got that excited for multiple meatballs?
I was so excited. So excited. So I am toasting to my mother-in-law, and I've had a few of them. I'm going to save some for lunch today. I'm putting them on sliders today.
He's already thinking about lunch.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
The signs have been there.
The signs have been there for a long time now. I'm just fully embracing Fatso-dom. It's nice.
Now, will you wait for the free pizza at noon here and then go home and have the meatballs?
Yeah. I'm just going to camp out until free pizza today. So toast to my mother-in-law. And also toasting to Mike Piazza. Has anybody seen him as manager of Team Italy?
Yeah.
He now looks like an old 80s Major League Baseball manager. He has that weird, like, lean in the dugout where he's kind of like leaning back with like a chaw. And it's just like, watch, he's got this big Fu Manchu mustache. He's going bald. He looks like all of the managers from 1984. And I love it that somehow Mike Piazza, like golden boy Mike Piazza that used to bleach his hair and wear all this cool clothes and be like the toast of the town, is now just like an old scrap iron 1980s manager. He's not even a real manager. He's never done this before, but he's looking the part perfectly.
You're right. He does look it. And it's so funny because he has the most Italian baseball last name ever of Piazza. Kind of sounds like pizza. And he was a great catcher. I kind of feel like that's why he's the manager of Team Italy. They looked around and like, where's that Piazza guy? That sounds Italian. You're going to manage our team.
He has no experience being a bench coach, being a manager, none whatsoever. He's just in there kind of playing the role. It's like if I were to dress up as Phil Garner, I would look like Mike Piazza. It's awesome.
He looks like Sean sounds when Sean stumbles into that Sopranos voice.
Yeah.
Take a second base.
Over here.
Hey, warm up lefty.
I'm going to be home tomorrow. I'm going to eat a lot.
DA, can I ask to tack on a toast? I want to toast the gentleman or the lady who's squatting on DA's 100 pounds on Twitter.
Yeah.
Smart move coming off you toasting meatballs. It's a good decision by him or her.
Yeah, I think my last 6 toasts, I think, have all been food-related. Steven in South Carolina toasting to Pete the Body. As a Braves fan, I want to tell him third place of the division is just fine.
Easy.
It's true.
Adriana is toasting epidurals. The miracle of modern medicine has saved our species from extinction. Can't wait until this baby is old enough to lecture me on washing my hands and having a proper diet. Hashtag Booskies. And congratulations to Adriana. Timbo Slice is toasting DA. Moves like Jagger. The Bourbon Bell is a lucky gal.
Yeah. Let's go, Jets.
Maybe the opposite.
Now the meatballs make sense from the mother-in-law. Huh?
Is that how you ring the Bourbon Bell with those hip moves?
Lukewarm Churro is toasting to the show for making mornings the best part of the day, making me laugh. Thanks for helping me get through some tough times with crazy shows like today. Cheers, Booskies. We appreciate all the Booskies. As Kristen in Buffalo is toasting Foxy for his musical contributions today. He looks way too put together to be a Mraz friend. Hashtag Booskies. Is he well put together? Does he have his life in order?
It's hard to tell. You know, he's kind of a mess. So he throws on a kilt. He's put together.
Upside Down Table tweets, I'm toasting Cap, the Scorsese of Twitch. He's capturing the Bayshore booger buffoon. To everything else, including wonderful memes, he's a treasure. Booskies.
I love that handle.
That nickname, yeah. And hashtag Nostril Knuckle Noogie. The Bayshore Booger Buffoon.
I like how Sean asked me if that was him.
Took me a little bit.
Not Connor Green says, I don't care if it's a Thirsty Thursday. I'm trashing Mraz for the mommy thing again. He's supposed to be a grown married father, yet still says mommy. What is happening?
Are those maggots?
My mother. Sorry.
Oh.
Wait a second. That's my
Your
Piazza.
I got an Easter basket coming to me. Oh. No peeps in this one.
Thomas tweets, I had high hopes for today's musical guest, guys. Maybe a mending of the fences with Art Garfunkel. Instead, we got Foxy torturing cats in Mraz's shed-stained drawers. Hashtag, oh, God.
We did have other people from other studios come running out to ask if everything was all right.
JD says, Booskies to a fellow D-Alien, Adriana, for the new baby girl. Can we get a beam up for the newest D-Alien? Booskies Adriana.
Which former giant is Adriana's baby named after?
Gerard Bunch. And Bouncing Baby Bois says, I'm toasting to Mraz for not only keeping those horrendous undies around, but for presenting them for the world to see. I can only hope he presents the pair from the infamous Oopsie heard around the world in 20 years. Hashtag, what can Brown do for you?
Booskies.
And Fruit of the Goon is another hashtag.
No, that previous pair of underwear have exploded, so no.
Okay, let's get to some Final Four predictions as well here, everybody. Let's cue those things up. By the way, this NBA preview brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, official sports and betting partner of the NBA. March Madness might be here tonight. Today, the NCAA tournament begins in full. How about that? How many hours away is tip-off of the first game, guys?
Less than 3.
Oh, yeah.
We've done so much today that I actually forgot the tournament starts today.
It's amazing, right? And tonight, Kings and Nets, also from Brooklyn. The Kings have clinched their first ever non-losing season since 2006. They have had losing seasons for 16 straight years.
Wow.
They can do no worse than 41-41, but they'll take on the Nets in Brooklyn tonight. And a little Magic and Suns as Phoenix continues to try to ride out the KD injury heading into the playoffs. No word yet on when he's going to return, but the Suns are a 7.5-point favorite at home against Orlando. All right, guys, why don't we give our Final Four picks here? Let's start with Andrew Bogish, who kind of is our college basketball insider.
Which is the beginning of our problems. I don't like either top bracket. The South and the Midwest were weird slogs for me, but I end up with 2 number ones coming out of it. Alabama from the South, Houston from the Midwest. Seems like Marcus Sasser's good enough to go after round 1 for Houston, so I think they'll be okay. The East and the West, that's where the intrigue is. I've got Marquette surviving a crazy East bracket. And then Gonzaga out of the West, I think benefiting from not having all the attention on them. So I've got Alabama, Houston, Marquette, and Gonzaga. And then Gonzaga over Bama for the national title.
Oh, the Zags to finally cut down the nets.
Drew Timme on his way out.
All right.
Finally making Mark Few a champ.
I like it. Mraz, who's your Final Four?
Whoa. DA.
Okay.
The South and the Midwest. I'm with Bogish on Houston and Alabama. Houston, by the way, the only team to remain in the top 5 every single week of the AP Top 25 all season long. And honestly, by now, I thought Bama would have fell off in the SEC run. They didn't. It seems like they're thriving under the circumstances. I think both make it to the Final Four. I'm going UCLA over UConn in the West bracket. I know they had a major injury, but again, they are a team led by Mick Cronin with plenty of experience the last couple of years. And I, too, will go with Pat Boyle's Marquette Golden Eagles here. And I will go UCLA to cut down the nets versus Alabama.
Okay.
And by the way, this would be the first time a team west of the Mississippi has won a national championship since Arizona, 1997.
And did you hear that from Jason McIntyre on the Colin Cowherd show?
No, I know there was a lot of problems he had with who was winning and who wasn't.
Because west of the Mississippi would include Kansas, who won last year. And west of the Mississippi would include Baylor, who won 3 years ago.
Okay, so I'm wrong on the Mississippi
And west of the
thing?
Mississippi would include Kansas when they won in 08.
All I heard was West Coast team, so I thought the saying was west of the Mississippi. But now that you say that, yeah.
It would be the first West Coast team since 97. You're absolutely right. It would be the first Pac-12 team if UCLA did win since Arizona in 97.
Look,
but
geography.
last year, a team west of the Mississippi won a national championship.
I know what I know, all right? And what I don't know is geography. I gave you the West Coast thing. I don't know where the Mississippi is, where it cuts America.
Yeah, I saw that, got some traction on social the other day that McIntyre on the Coward Show said west of the Mississippi, and that would be definitely wrong.
I did not realize that that's what he said.
I mean, did you think the Mississippi was in, like, Vegas?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The West Coast thing's been making the rounds, so.
2 hours from Cleveland. They haven't had a national championship since then.
If this is your first time listening, shame on you. This is the first of many geography problems you're going to get wrong.
Pete the Body, who's your Final Four?
Oh, I got Baylor and Xavier. And then
Xavier!
Yeah.
All right.
That's
All
right. I
right.
got Baylor and Xavier in the Final
Pair
Four.
of 3 seeds.
And I'm going to go out on a limb with a couple teams. One of them being Iona because Rick Pitino.
In the Final Four?
I think Rick Pitino's going to have a run, and then he's going to bowl for St. John's. So this has the making of all of that.
So Pete has a 13 seed in the Final Four.
That's right.
Good for you, Pete.
And then I have an 11 seed in the Final Four in Providence. We're going to go with the Friars and Ed Cooley, who I love.
You Lucy Burge here?
And then he goes to Georgetown, so you're just picking coaches who are about to leave their
That's
coverage
right.
jobs? All right.
They want to make some runs here. So, but they're going to lose in the Final Four. It's going to be Bama, Xavier in the championship game with Bama winning.
Boy, I tell you, if you match with Lucy Burge on Tinder and Pete shows up, you're going to be very disappointed.
I thought you had Baylor, didn't you say?
I meant Bama. Apologize. My bad.
You can't even read, Pete.
I can't read. I read off a screen.
Okay. No Baylor. Strike Baylor. Bama, Xavier, Iona, Providence. Okay.
This is the people's show when it comes to March Madness. Who watches all year? I don't know where the Mississippi is. Pete's confusing B teams.
This is our selection show.
That's right.
All right. I think Bama gets upset somewhere along the way. I think the spectacle of what's going on with the murder investigation ultimately is going to topple them. I just don't see them having the stamina to go all the way to the Final Four. So give me Arizona as the 2 seed out of the South. The East, I feel like, is where chaos is going to reign. I don't like Purdue to get all the way to a Final Four. You have Marquette, who's dangerous. Kansas State's in there. Tennessee. And I can't stand Duke. We all know this. But I'm picking the Blue Devils all the way to the Final Four. They're talented. They got their bleep together in February and March. They won the ACC tournament. They're playing their best basketball. And they've got a Sweet 16 and Elite 8 at Madison Square Garden that's going to be heavy Duke fans. There's tons of Duke alumni in the New York City area, which is why they always play at MSG in those preseason tournaments. So I think they got the home court advantage. So give me Duke through the East. In the Midwest, I like Houston. I like Texas as well, but I think Houston, they play slow, they play methodical, and they've been pretty consistent all season long. I like the Cougs. They have experience going to the tournament the last couple of years. Give me Houston plus playing at home in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. Give me Houston through the Final Four. And then to the West, I think the Bill Self-health issue is hanging over the heads of Kansas, and no teams repeat these days. It ain't going to be KU. I like UConn as well to knock off Kansas. I also like Gonzaga, though. Without the pressure of a 1 seed or an undefeated season, they smashed St. Mary in the WCC championship game. Drew Timmy's been there 16 years. He's going to retire here soon from basketball. I like the Zags and Mark Few to the Final Four. I don't like where history tells us, though, because I've got 2 West Coast teams to the Final Four, Arizona and Gonzaga. As we know, historically, it doesn't usually go that way. But give me Arizona and Houston to the national championship game, and the Cats, for the first time since 97, winning the national championship.
West of the Mississippi.
West of the Mississippi. That East region feels like Duke's going to be the beneficiary of chaos in there. And, of course, Bogish has our headlines.
And as we just said, we are less than 3 hours away from the real madness. Maryland and West Virginia first, 12:15 Eastern. The bracket down to 64 thanks to wins last night in Dayton from FDU and Arizona State. And then, of course, night 2 of the NIT. Oregon handled UC Irvine 84-58. Cincinnati beat Virginia Tech 81-72. David Orange DeJulius with 21 points, 6 boards, and 7 assists.
Take a sip of that.
And North Texas downed Alcorn State 69-53. The extra salty Pete this morning, courtesy of Mets closer Edwin Diaz, hurting his right knee, celebrating the final out of Puerto Rico's 5-2 win over the DR in Miami to reach the WBC quarterfinals. Diaz's brother Alexis is on the team too. He was in tears on the field. Edwin eventually taken off the field in a wheelchair. He'll undergo further testing today, according to the Mets. Team USA reached the quarters with a 3-2 win over Colombia in Phoenix last night. Up next is Venezuela, and today in Tokyo, Japan just beat Mike Piazza in Italy 9-3 to reach the semifinals. The Lakers protected Anthony Davis's foot issue, holding him out last night in Houston, and they lost 114-110. Now only a half game better than the Pels and the Jazz for 10th in the West. And if I could play this, we almost had a goalie fight last night in the NHL.
Zuccarello has Eriksson Ek, got it through, they score! He found Hartman! And the Blues, Binnington coming after him! Hartman skated through Binnington's area and clipped him on the way by in celebration.
And Fleury's over there,
come
they're
all
gonna go
the way down to drop the gloves, but the linesman has a hold of Binnington.
Oh, let him go! Holy jumping!
Marc-Andre Fleury trying to get at him, but the linesman won't let him.
Brendan Burke, Darren Pang asking for violence on TNT, but those dumb linesmen would not let Marc-Andre Fleury come down the ice and fight Blues goalie Jordan Binnington.
That was a great call for network TV, too. I thought that was a local radio call.
No, they were locked in, ready to go.
Oh,
Everybody wants a
I think
goalie
that was
fight.
Darren Pang with a holy jumping.
Man.
I love a holy
That would
jumping.
be a Canadian bacon
extravaganza.
slam dunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be our soundbite of the night. Yeah.
That was great.
Binnington done there, done. Oh, never mind.
Okay.
Hey, Boyle.
Great job.
We come back, Advanced Analytics and an epic fail. DA, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break.
He's a little banged up. He's a little banged up. Apparently, I was using.
So listen, Mraz, nothing sports related, man. But listen, we getting ready for some parades, some beads, some king cake, and some boobies, man. So listen, happy Mardi Gras to you guys. So listen, Mraz, nothing sports related, man. But listen, we getting ready for some parades, some beads, some king cake, and some boobies, man. So listen.
Looks like we have breaking news here as Zach Gelb was called up the hotline here. Let's punch him up on the show. Zach, good morning.
DA, good morning. First off, I just want to say you deserve a better producer because
I've been saying that for 9 years.
I didn't know Sean worked for The Onion because, number one, fake news.
Patriots as a team embody the spirit of teamwork, hard work, and perseverance. The New England Patriots as a team embody the spirit of teamwork, hard work, and perseverance. Their success on the field is a testament to the dedication and commitment of every member of the organization, from the players to the coaches and support staff. Together, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots have created a legacy that will be remembered for generations to come. They have shown us what it means to strive for excellence, to never give up, and to work together to achieve a common. I like big butts and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny that when a girl walks in with an itty-bitty waist and a round thing in your face, you get sprung, want to pull up tough because you noticed that butt was stuffed.
I think it's time to play Gloria Karaoke. Pete the Body Bilotti, cue the music.
Gloria, you're always on the run now, running after somebody. You gotta get him somehow.
I think you gotta slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. You really
2 minutes remaining.
Wasn't something that he said. All the voices in your head calling, Gloria, Gloria. Don't you think you're falling? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody calling? You don't have to answer. Leave them hanging on the line. Oh, calling. Oh, calling Gloria. Gloria, Gloria. I think they got your number. Calling those cows, Gloria. I think you got the alias, Gloria, that you've been living under, Gloria. But you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head. Call it Gloria. Gloria.
Oh, God.
How's it gonna go down? Will you meet him on the main line? Or will you catch him on the rebound? Will you marry for the money? Take a lover in the afternoon? I feel like you're in.
$15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Even the DA show is not perfect. We know. Shocking. Here's the epic fail.
We got that dancing in this morning. How could you lead with that? How could you lead with that? That classic Jets chant.
Could you imagine him in section 314 in September doing that chant? What is wrong with this guy?
Here's Fireman Ed.
J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Is Mick Jagger now?
Brown sugar, why don't you feel so good?
Let's go, Jets.
Brown sugar.
Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Let's go, Jets.
J-E-T-S. Jets, Jets.
Let's go, Jets. Fireman Ed, he just takes him and throws him over the balcony.
Start me up. Start me up.
Don't make the grown man cry.
Start me up.
Start me up, Aaron. Let's go, Jets.
Let's go, Jets.
Gary Wilson gonna catch the passes. Stop me up. He never made a wish list.
Epic fail, you loser.
That is why you fail. Epic fail.
Man, was that funny today. The DA show question of the morning. Do you consider yourself a Peeps supporter? 88% of you say no. All right, that was a wild and woolly radio show today. Thanks to Sean Mraz, executive producer. Thanks to Pete the Body Bellotti on the Wheels of Steel and audio director. Thanks to Andrew Bogish on your headlines. And Andrew Kaplan, the Wizard of Watch DA. Tomorrow we'll update you on the NIT bracket standings and react to day number 1 of the NCAA tournament. Tip-off in 2 hours. Be good and be good to one another. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm DA. The Mothership disconnects.
You're in a 5-minute break.